On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, more LB6 favoritism from both ends, and also we shall be guiding you through calling the Tamlin Cup. We got a pregame. It's coming up.
Woo.
Got a thing? We're going to do it?
Yeah.
And also, if you stay tuned to the part of the show that's not about FGO, at the very, very end, we'll talk about Monster Hunter Wilds a little. Or a lot. I don't know.
Probably a lot.
You, audience at home, unless you're part of our live audience listening right now, have the power to scroll bar to the future to see how long the talk is. I do not control the scoot forward. But I am one of your hosts, Omega. That other voice you hear is Lucky. I don't really have a funny intro thing this week, man. I don't know. I probably could have gone with, Monster Hunter weapons, but, there's, a dozen of those.
Well, I'll be, Great Sword Lucky. You can be Sword and Shield Omega.
That's pretty normal, yeah.
But with that, I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka Fate Nights and Fairy Cups. And while we here at Studio Omega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EM version of the game. So anyone not wanting spoilers should hide. But the horror is upon us. We're out of October. I think I legally cannot stop them anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm already starting to see, the memes slipping up. Like I've seen somebody post on Twitter, Mariah Carey breaks out a week earlier every year because of global warming. I've seen, I don't know if it was directly because of the live letter just happened, but I saw, a 14 meme of, everybody's favorite Primal is back, and it's Mariah Carey in the ice block with 14 boss subs,
Oh, I saw that too. Honestly, yeah. I think my greatest thing I love about this whole thing is that Mariah Carey has totally taken this in stride and does a bit every year of her breaking out.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, it's not her fault, so why not just embrace it? It is part of the meme culture.
I know. So,
no,
I love it.
You get remembered every year, that's fine. But yes, as usual, Lucky's done the intro. I'd like to thank everybody listening, both on YouTube and also on Patreon. More Patreon news later, since nobody complained about me moving the Patreon bump to the back.
Bump.
So we'll keep it in there, and we're just going to clasp our hands and pray that I remember. It's okay. It's been bolded at the top of the show notes for 5 years, so I'll probably remember. But that means it's time to keep on keeping on and move to our next segmentum. So we're going to check in with everybody's favorite Kohai, Mash.
Senpai, 起きてください.
Because it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, our regular segment for Pro Tips.
Pro Tips.
Also the part of the show that lets YouTube know that we're not for kids.
Not for kids. Fuck
but
them.
Not so close to the start that YouTube advertisers are upset at us. We're advertiser friendly so long as you're advertising to adults because you cannot legally make ads focused at children. The FCC said no. Anyway. Pro tips. Last week I think I had nothing for pro tips, so this week I have 2. First up, it's now November. You've got a store reset to go through and all that other fun stuff, but we have a wonderful slate of November login items for your November tickets of logging in and doing master missions and other things, daily missions. You can obtain stand arrows, magatama, bullets, fangs, and small bells. I think it's going to be small bells for me, mostly.
I think somehow, somewhere, at some point, I got a fuck ton of small bells, and I'm not entirely sure where I got them. Little confused.
Free quest grind, or was there a Lotto with small bells recently?
Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Small bells is my smallest by a decent amount. I thought it might be stand arrows, but I actually have over 300 of those, which is I feel is the decent amount to have in your back pocket. Unlikely to run out if you level up a servant fully once. But yes, wide variety of good items in there. The other note I do have is, honestly, I don't think FGO, as a website or as an app necessarily advertises these very big, but so I like to keep you guys informed. But they put out a little alert confirming that if you have updated to Android 15, FGO works that way. They had a little note that's we have confirmed that if you are using Android and you're using Android 15 operating system, FGO works. It probably worked before they confirmed it, but, just one of those things of, going through the strats and making sure. So, they've given you the thumbs up that it should be working.
Yeah!
Now, this week, we definitely don't have any records or achievements. It was the last week in a 3-week, event that involved pretty heavy farming back end of just literally doing quests over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I ever said out loud for sure that my 9-Dragon Ellie was, like, NP5. You know, I'd already maxed the Senator, but yes, I did get that resolved. I got all my command codes, but, you know, that's, like, just, like, bare minimum shit. Got some of the lores. So, like, could have done better, but definitely I feel like I liked the Heroes at Mount Liang style of thing, but it definitely, like, could use some tweaking for future events. Now that I don't know how many
I don't
crazy
think you should have
events
to
are
do it 500 times. I think they should have, like, condensed it out all down to, like, 300 for everything.
Yeah, you know, like, because
I think that's what my problem was, is
even,
that the reward ceilings was too damn high.
Yeah, as they often do. And sometimes you look at a point ladder and you go, ain't no way we're making 3 million points. And, like, I feel like with FGO, it's like a 50-50. Sometimes you're absolutely correct. There ain't no way you're making 3 million points. But other times it's like, oh, 3 million points was surprisingly easy. I'd like FGO if we could plot the course in the middle a little bit there. Better. But yeah, no, like, it was a decent concept. It really rewarded you for having lots of high-leveled servants. But also, it didn't matter. You just had to have high-level servants. You know, you literally can click auto, and I don't actually think it mattered what servants you put in. You know, so just picking whoever was your highest level to put where, even though you had so many options. Like I said, it kind of played into, like, how I felt about a little bit about parts of the story, where it was like, if you were familiar with the water margin and maybe knew some of these positions, you know, other of the 108 stars, you might get, like, a chuckle out of doing something funny there. But otherwise, it was just, you know, lock in all your highest leveled servants, get your points. And to be fair, like I mentioned off mic earlier, but I like that you just got a flat point total for doing any free quest, so like I didn't have to like try and do the 90++ for more Liang job points or whatever.
Yeah.
But it also did kind of meant that it was just like a thing that kind of just kept happening. So yeah, I think lowering some numbers would be good. All right. There's a fine thumbnail. I didn't realize it, but it looks like Melu's fucking ready to crack open the Mariah Carey zone.
A bit, yeah.
Alright. Save that thumbnail, scratch my nose. Those are not necessarily linked, but they're happening at the same time. But that means that our next segment teams is, did you finish your master missions? So remember last week how I was like, oh, maybe we'll get like the complicated master missions next week. No, that did not happen. They made the master missions even but simpler. Even rock-ass, stupid simpler.
So affecting our vocabulary.
Well, I need to expand the vocabulary because, unfortunately, we're going to use a lot of the same words in the master missions you have to do this week. You need to perform 30 FP summons, and that's about as crazy as it gets. We have 3 separate missions to defeat 15 each of Earth, Human, and Heaven attribute enemies. And then also just defeat 20, then 40 enemies, period, with the caveat that not servants or certain storyline bosses, who presumably have some sort of servant tag. So, yeah, no, it's simpler. Even more basicified. Last week was already super basic. This is just like, I don't know, fight guys. So on the one hand, good on them for not trying to like overcomplicate, you know, your last week of, or, you know, last 5 days or whatever of Halloween Rebellion. But also, yeah, very simple. Do anything. Just remember to do those FP summons. Actually, I guess that's a good point. Robin in the patron chat says that technically the 40 enemies meant that you would have had to run the 90++ quest like 40 times because like almost everything there was a servant, so that's very funny. But yeah, no, it's wild how we're just cruising. But that means we can get into the skelograms. I need like a wintry skelograms read, but I don't want to just skelograms. That doesn't do it. That's nothing. I don't even need to ask, is that something, chat? I'm like, no, I know that's nothing. But anyway. We have a lot stacked up for EN, but also have a little bit of JP news at the tail end, so, you know, things are happening. First of all, not surprising given how I prefaced this episode, but when it happened, a little surprising. We've started the pre-release campaign for Chaldea Tamlin Cup, the Next Generation's Triumphant Return. Their words, not mine. Starting on the 31st. It happened on Halloween. And going until the 7th of November. So this is why I said earlier that we are doing the pregame this week because the pre-release ends the 7th, so it's entirely possible that you will start Tamlin Cup on Friday the 8th. So it may already have started by the time we do the next show. I want more than a gram of turkey, if you know what I'm saying. Ba-pa. Anyway, the pre-release is very simple. Log in for 7 days for golden apples. There's a golden apple a day. There's cumulative logins as well. Get a little bit extra QP and EXPs. During this time period for about this week, all dailies are open. They're not half AP, but they are all open if you have any EXP grinding to do. Rank ups and interludes are all half AP, so also good for catching up on that. The banner we discussed last week about Morgan's banner, running all the time. I believe it's just Morgan and the Valentine's CE, which is funny. I appreciate this. And remember, if you want to do the story for Tamlin Cup, you need to clear LB6. The story. Specify that one in there. But also, for this time being, we have a slight EN follow-up as well. The Singularity Repair Support campaign, second Singularity Pickup Summon, started the 31st, goes until the 4th. Getting a lot of shorter banners in here. But this is just basically a follow-up on the previously described support campaign with banners. They fired up some ones for Orleans with the Jean and Jolter and the animation updates, and now we got some for the Septum. Banner number 1 is going to be Alteris Theno Alexander. Banner number 2 is Waver Tamo Cat Boudica. Perfectly normal stuff. And yeah, that's where Ian's at right now. Like I said, I feel like it's a little, like, announcing we're starting the pre-release for November's event, which I still think they've said as... actually, I'll double check, but I don't remember. Are they saying early November or mid-November? Because I think they said early, but I'll scroll them up, go to the news page. I think we've got a handy-dandy news link. Yeah, it is early November, so that will probably be starting, like I said, on the 8th and then running through, and then just leaving you a little bit of time to clean up at the end for whatever we're actually doing for Thanksgiving. So we'll get right into that. But yeah, no, they're being very, very prompt with this one, very, very straight away. But we also have a little bit of JP news going on. First up, chronologically, they have what they're calling the Autumn Enhancement Campaign. Just, they're doing one of their little, usual monthly updates. First of all, log in for EXPs, QPs, and stuff. Just, a usual 7-day login campaign. They have limited time master missions for a combination of Saint Quartzes and Evocation Leaves. All Leaf Shop welfares, I believe that's what the in total group is, are double suck chance during this time period. They're doing quarter AP on all Lost Belts up through LB7, and half AP on Ordeal Call 1. So definitely giving you some, story prompt time to catch up. And honestly, what vibe this gives me, they're just running it for the week, it ends the 6th. I smell maybe another batch of shop welfares coming in, the evocation shop, because they're giving you four. No, actually, yeah, no, it will be 400 leaves. I think it's 10 total missions. So yeah, no, getting you a lot of leaves, and there's some other stuff we're going to talk about in a sec. There's even more leaves, so definitely gassing you up to pick up more welfares, get more leaf, and I wonder if they may be stocking some more people in there. I don't really know who would be super in demand to get added to the shop. They've got a couple of the collab characters. I think we've got most Gouda Goudas. Some we've done a big wave of Summers. I guess their Halloween ones stop at Mecha Ellie, so we could get some follow up on that. But yeah, like I said, it feels perhaps like there's another batch of welfares that are going to come through because they're going to really juice up your currency. Next, it seems like they're a bigger block to buy more space after wrapping up. Well, when they actually wrap up Fairy Sugoroku, because I think that actually doesn't end until a couple weeks into November. But I mentioned it before, but we're getting more LB6 favoritism. The Lost Belt number 6 Clear Support campaign starts the 1st of November, goes until the 30th of November. Funny how that works. But in JP, you're going to have 0 AP on LB6. You're going to have more recollection quests. A lot of them, by the way. The wiki has the time gates up there, and there seems like there's quite a few. They're not given teapots right now. It's I believe stuff mostly mana prisms, rare prisms, etc. But still, a lot of options for some recollection. There are limited time master missions. These are giving more EXPs, leaves, and stuff. I think there's 3 Saint Quartz in there as well. But yeah, so there's limited time master missions for clearing sections of LB6, which once again includes like another 400 leaves in there, so pretty good. We also, everybody in, chat, feel free to get excited. Everybody in the comments get excited. Babanshi NP upgrade, the Babo rank up. So they did some fun little mechanical stuff here. First of all, her curse and evil curse effects have been moved. They now apply first. And then also, added effect, she now deals flat bonus damage based on curse stacks. So it doesn't increase with overcharge, but it does increase with stacks of curse. Similar to other servants who have NPs that deal bonus damage based on curse. I think it maxes out at like 10 stacks. Let me actually double check how much stacks on stacks on stacks. Yeah, max count 10 stacks. So it's deals 100% extra damage to an enemy with a curse status plus 10% for each curse stack they have up to 10 stacks. So it's basically like, depending on how many stacks of curse they have, adding a basic NP multiplier. Also, hey, by the way, it's an NP rank up, so again, her base NP multiplier goes up as well. It's quick, so it's already very high. So yeah, very, very punchy. Very strong. Definitely got some people like wondering if regular Tristan will get a buff, because it definitely feels like his NP is maybe falling a little behind there on that curve. But we also have some Lost Belt number 6 clear support campaign banners. They're running a banner, first of all, which is Morgan Babo Cascu. Pretty straightforward. I think everybody understands that one. They're going to run also later a Melusine Bargist banner, and then also round it out with a Little Da Vinci regular Tristan red hair banner. I'm presuming because they literally just did the 30 million downloads with Oberon, so, be weird to bring him back again. But, once again, showing off her popularity. I don't think just because she wasn't in the game for like the first, 5 years or whatever, 5 or 6 years, but Morgan definitely coming swinging for Gil and Skahawk's, least limited unit banner already. Like, listen, I understand she's very popular. She's probably one of the most popular, like, technically FGO original characters because her depictions in pre-FGO media are, like, very scarce and don't have a lot to do with her in FGO. But, like, yeah, they gave her a lot of rate-ups. Also, somewhere in here, I'm not exactly sure which campaign it was, either out of, like, Autumn or the LB6 or just part of the, Fairy Sugoroku event, the Kazuo drop event we're going on right now. But Arthur also got a buff in here, Prototype Arthur. So his third skill got buffed, which is honestly pretty good. That was his trait damage one. That one was a little lackluster there. So first of all, it's now a charisma skill. It gives team-wide attack 10 to 20%. They decided to just give him the charisma he should have because he's a King Arthur. The super large damage buff now lasts 3 turns instead of just 1, which is pretty good. 1 turn trait damage bonus that's not tied to like your NP firing can get a little dicey. And the battery is now scalable. It starts at 20% flat and can go up to 30%. So for Arthur, that should help him be more consistent, damaging, NPing, and, gives him some slightly extra shit to do with a team support buff. I don't think he really needed to do the team support, 20%, but it does give him more stuff. But yeah, that about, I think, sums up all of our news. Like I said, we'll have the pregame after the flip, but yeah, we're moving swiftly right on into Tamlin Cup, which will be your seasonal Lotto event. And other than that, just banners and buffs, business as usual.
Banners and buffs, let's go.
I will say, just to briefly tangent, because we're still sub 30 minutes, so we can prevaricate a little. This is very interesting to me because, there's a lot of other random gacha stuff going on, I think, like, Girls Frontline's, like, original server announced they're doing EOS soon.
Yep.
No, not for sure if that will include global. I think I saw some people posting that, like, it seems to be related to, like, who they've got actually running their servers, like, in China, so don't know for sure, like, what all the deal is, but, literally, I was about to say subtitle, but no, super title, Girls Frontline 2, subtitle Exilium, is also coming soon globally, so, like, they've already moved on to their next project, but, recently, Arknights had another, like, big blobby banner with, an alternate version of a character who's also super turbo broken and, shot up to the top of the gacha charts, as you do. And that had me thinking that, like, FGO does that a lot. Even if their units aren't super meta, if there's a popular new limited, we tend to shoot up to the top of the charts anyway. But also, FGO is one of the few games I know that through like interludes and rank ups also sometimes just makes old units busted. Like, it's not a guarantee, but sometimes you get a rank up and like, you know, literally in the chat talking about Baobon, you know, somebody already said, a Baobon buff? But she's already broken. You know, like, just, Baobon Shi was already perfectly fine, but they decided to just be like, nah, we've got different design, you know, phrases. We're just gonna, it's crazy pants. So yeah, it's interesting. Always interesting to see kind of how these things line up differently. But yes, those are your skeleton grams.
Yay, skeleton grams. So, with that, let us move not so swiftly on to this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag. The segment where we say what you... Wait a minute. The segment where we see what you have to say. Read. I lost it. Brain. Malfunction. How do I even? I don't. So we're just gonna keep going. You guys know what's up. Let's Talk FGO Mailbag. We're going now.
Well, you did say not so swiftly.
Yeah, there's a difference between not so swiftly and tripping over my words.
Yeah, you meant to just be a gentle meander, and it turned more into a stumble, fall, roll down the hill. There's so many rocks and sticks in this mailbag now.
So with that, we got five lovely comments, and we'll get to them all eventually. And coming up first, here we got Monster Girl Aficionado, who says, Dear Lucky Omega, no time for a question. Good vibes. Wah wah wah. Well wishes. Great work. Now, back to Monster Hunter. If you are all curious, I don't know if it was actually been mentioned, but we are in the midst of the public Monster Hunter Wilds beta. I was able to get on the PlayStation 1 a bit earlier, and Omega has been in the public one. We played some the other night, so look forward to our impressions of that later. Well, thank you very much for this comment, and we're gonna keep moving on. This next one comes from the Tyrant King, finally ready for that fall weather to hit like Truck-kun. They say, question, hey guys. Actually, no, before I saw that, no, this person is right. I could have swore, like, 2 weeks ago I was dying from the heat, and then all of a sudden, like, I think it was like in the last, like, week or so, I'm like, no, it's getting cold. It is time to, you know, cover my windows and break out the fluffy blanket. It's like, brr, heater on. It's all like, it has cooled down significantly. But this person says, question, hey guys, recently I've started to rewatch Beast Wars, and later, hopefully, the G1 series for Transformers. I was wondering, is there any retro series you would like to rewatch? You would rewatch every now and then, excuse me. Anyway, that's it for me. Send good vibes your way. Wah. And hope you are having a great evening. Oh man, retro series. Every once in a while, I think about... I don't necessarily watch retro series, but every once in a while, I'm like, man, I should go, think about rewatching it. Like, just the other day, I was thinking about, man, I know it's jank and 90s as fuck, but I should go see if I can find, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Well, I can guarantee you that if there's not an official platform who will bring you that, some motherfucker saved his VHS tapes and put that shit on the internet.
Somewhere. If you don't know, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad was the chopped up and butchered American version of Gridman that they did back in the 90s. It's the reason why, if you look at, the recent, Gridman and Dynamite that has the SSSS in there, it's a homage to that. But, no, I actually like Gridman. Actually, that's another thing I need to go see if I can find. I can find the original Gridman. But no, there's old shows, that I've been meaning to want to watch just to, go back.
Hey, yo.
Someone pulled that shit out quick. Thank you.
The Patron chat has your back.
Yeah, Patron chat got me. Yeah, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. But, there's a lot of old shows that I really like as a kid that I'm always curious to see if they, stand the test of time. Some of them I can't actually remember. Like, this guy mentions Beast Wars, but I remember there was another, CG show that, I can't remember the name of it to save my life. But, basically, it was a bunch of, young adults / teenagers who could just turn into cars, almost Animorph style. And, oh god, I can't remember the name of it, but it was super fucking weird.
Yeah, that doesn't ring any bells for me.
No, it's just like that. But there's old animations that I like. I kind of miss like fucking SWAT Cats.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone remember SWAT Cats?
No, I think people remember SWAT Cats.
Yeah.
God, I'm trying to think. I have that same memories, like, and especially when it's like when you watch them at a young enough age, where just like it was just like on, like.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was a cartoon that was tangentially related to The Mummy as a movie franchise, but also wasn't really anything like the movies. And I watched that as a kid before watching the movies, but I'm like, man, maybe someday I should track that down and see, because like that's fucking like funny to me that they made like the Mummy, cartoon that I'm pretty sure I watched like on TV like before school, which was when I was very, very young. But I really like the Mummy movies when they came out, so it's like wild. And there was other weird shit. There it is. Man, they're killing it. I don't like that this comes from the YouTube channel Media Graveyard, but yeah, no, that's definitely it. Secrets of the Magi. Yeah, it's more based on I think it come out with the Mummy 2, Mummy Returns, but still. Yeah, no. Similarly, there's a couple of things I've like tried to go back and just skim, like that are on streaming services, like through Disney Plus or Netflix. Like sometimes I'll be like, real ill or real down low, and I'll just, start flicking through Netflix and be like, oh, Netflix says they've got, Fairly Odd Parents. Let's just, run through about 5 of those. But dedicated sit downs I haven't really done. There's stuff I've planned to do. I think the closest I come is just to decently, rewatching Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, because I've owned that physically for many years. But also that's not like that retro. That was like mid 2000s. I know that was still a decently number of years ago, but I was, like at least in my early teens, if not my mid-teens by the time it happened. So like,
oh, okay, I fucking found it. You want to know what the name of this show was called?
Go for it.
Vampires.
I think I've heard that pun before, but I did not realize it was like a show. That's crazy. It's nuts. I'm trying to think for older anime. Like I said, I've checked out a few cartoons from my childhood before, but there's always weird stuff to get in. But God, kids TV shows episode titles, man, like fucking like the 2-part that started Power Rangers was like Day of the Dumpster. Lucky just posted Vampires episode, season 1, episode 1. Those who have the fuel shall rule. God, I had a VHS tape somewhere for like the fucking pilot episode of the Ghost Writer TV series. It's about writing and ghosts. A ghost who write. What if they ever solved that? I don't know. But yeah, just, wild stuff all over the place. For some of the more older anime, like, I have actually, like, sat back and, like, blitzed through a lot of, like, old Yu-Gi-Oh! But that was, like, and watched some of the, earlier episodes of Inuyasha that were on streaming just because I was like, oh, hey, I haven't seen them in a while. But I haven't, like, watched those, Like, it's not something that I keep coming back to. It's more just that, like, there are a couple of things that I'm like, yeah, I should have rewatched that. Did that recently with Digimon Tamers. But yeah, nobody ever does it, but I will say once again, hey, if you have an old TV show you've been thinking about rewatching, let us know in the comments, because like I said, chat, sometimes we get wild comments, like previously I was like, who plays FGO on iPod Touch? And somebody showed up. I think it was technically in a mailbag response, but still,
yes.
You don't have to wait. You can, though. That's also okay. But like somebody came up and was like, yo, me, and I'm like, what? Huh?
Nani? Also, one more show that I think about on the regular, wish I could watch, Reboot.
That's another one that's like another cult hit. That has to be somewhere. Red from OSP fucking loves Reboot, and since like I feel like once a month she posts either of them, but OSP posts a video like once a month that makes it to the top 10 of trending. Like a whole subculture like of YouTube viewers have to have been infected with Reboot. We don't I was gonna joke we don't need a reboot of Reboot, but like I guess if you kept everything the same but remodeled the graphics, like that's a very early 3D CG. Like Lucky posted a GIF right now, which I feel like this has to be like an HD rip, because like it looks pretty crisp for an animated GIF. But yeah, like textures aren't bad. Models are a little stiff though.
Well, you gotta remember, we'd been originally watching this on something that was barely pulling like 240p.
Yeah, no, like And that's why I'm like, this has to be from like an HG rip, because like, there's no way Reboot looked this clean watching it on a 4x3 monitor that's like smaller than 12 inches. Because yes, people at home, if you're still too young to know, TVs used to be fucking tiny, or at the very least, all the TVs that my family could afford to give me for me to watch shit on. Small ass TVs. Like, I don't know what it is about like LCDs and LEDs that made it quite so cost effective, but y'all don't even know, like you can get, decently sized monitors and TVs for relatively inexpensive these days. But I'm sure, because we have a terrible time throwing anything out, if I dug through all the boxes and shit we have from the move, I can find some tiny ass TVs, 12-inch screen, VCR player built in the bottom.
I've always hated those.
I mean, like, on the one hand, it's like very adaptable, but like I feel like they were clunky.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely like, now as I'm talking about it, I'm definitely like, my mind's going like, I've owned at least one combo VCR TV where the VCR part just fucking broke.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when a like, I'm not gonna say like I'm a gearhead or I'm a whiz with machines, but generally when I was growing up, if like my VCR or something like broke down, I was able to, take it fucking apart, like poke around it, and usually get what was ever like, messing with it. Those fucking combo things, impossible. Fucking impossible.
Well, I'm sure they didn't want you to crack open the TV because it was still a CRT. It has a fucking particle gun in the back.
Probably.
Like, I don't actually know if there were ever any issues with the cathode ray tubes in a CRT monitor, but like, I'm sure they didn't want you playing around with them. And that also, I will say, though, in general, is like, that is kind of the beauty of like an analog interface, because that is what VHS was and still is. Like, those are magnetic tapes or analog media technically. So like, there was still computer shit in there that could break down, but a lot of the times it was mechanical stuff was your problem. Like, you got a faulty reel, or the tape got stuck and you got to like unwind it, or the magnetic reader head got dirty. My family owned those like special cleaning VHS tapes, where you like put the alcoholic cleaning solution in the tape for the reader head to like scrub. So yeah, no, definitely like, that's the thing, like your DVD or Blu-ray player like bricks, you probably got like a 50-50 chance that's either something in like the chips or the software, and it's like, well, man, I don't know how to access the fucking built-in operating system of my Blu-ray player. But your VCR, but simple. I actually don't know how simple the interface to translate magnetic tapes were, but it was a thing that we did after other technology, so I'm sure it wasn't that crazy. It wasn't until like CD, DVD format that other things became easier.
Technology is wild every time I think about it.
Yeah. What's even wilder to me is to think that like, a lot of people assume because specifically VHS format is like super retro, they're like, oh, we don't use magnetic tapes anymore. Actually, no, we do. High volume magnetic tape storage, like analog storage, is actually really valuable, and there's a lot of shit that is like backed up to giant Star Wars ass tape drives, because if you're using the right kind of magnetic storage, that shit lasts a long time, and you don't need to worry about like semiconductors breaking down. Also, yes, that's a great one, Legendary. This is the thing, I see this on like Twitter a couple of times, but like, thinking about microchips is crazy. We like crushed rocks and heat them up to turn them into different rocks that do math. And they
like
do
I
math
said, man, technology is wild.
Yeah. That math will send you to the fucking moon. But yes, no, like I said, in the comments of the YouTube video, on Patreon, in the next mailbag, whatever, if you've got any retro shows you like to rewatch or haven't gotten around to rewatching, let us know. It's always good. Maybe you'll give us our next vampires.
No.
This poster, Legendary found, by the way, is metal as hell. I assume it's from a different property, but like, it's still also called Vampire. Actually, no. Yes, I see it now, because the Lucky posted an episode rip on YouTube that's got a hyphen in it. I bet they couldn't get the unhyphenated title because there's a weird ass, this has got to be like a 70s B movie. But it's a good poster. Anyway, mailbag.
Mailbag! So, this next one comes from, I have come from 2021. I remember this joke. Dear Lucky Omega, thanks for answering my question last week. I am a bit of a dilemma. I have saved up only enough St. Coins for estimate 2 SSR servants, but with Castoria Oberon and Koyon L, coming in a few months. I am not which 2 of the 3 I should prioritize to roll for. I'm also worried since Castoria is first, I'll spend all my sync courts to get her and not be able to roll the other. How would you rank the priority of getting each of the 3? And what would you do in my situation? Should I skip Castoria to roll for Oberon and Koyan, or roll Castoria and skip one of the others? If it helps, I have a good amount of Buster MP servants like Gil and Notoria, but not many Arts MP servants, so not sure how good Castoria will be for me. If that's the case, I would actually probably say prioritize Oberon. Oberon's MP damage boosting is universal, so you don't necessarily need to necessarily worry on that. Castoria is great, amazing. Even though she works best with other art servants, just the fact that she can give, the 50% charge with NP gain up is also very good. Everyone knows Lucky stands Koyanskaya of Light in this house, but like again, she is very Buster support heavy, and the unfortunate thing about all 3 of these servants is that usually people like to run double comps with them, and I always find that really annoying. So like someone literally posted a chart of the Morgan comp 90 plus node compositions, and literally like 90% of them are is a double servant maneuver between like Castoria, Oberon, and who's the third one?
Seen a lot of Lady Avalon.
Lynn. Yeah, I saw a couple of Lady Avalon in there.
Yeah, not always doubled up, but like it's like your choices are usually like, a damage dealer and then Castoria, Lady Avalon. There is at least one that's like Castoria, Lady Avalon, Oberon, but it needs you to have like NP4. That's another thing that's on this comp chart I don't like is you can compensate for like not doubling up, but you need a lot of NP levels, it looks like.
Excuse me.
I'm kind of curious if you
So,
can make
honestly, I would say go for Oberon first. I find this hilarious because even though I have like a level 90, 10 to 10 Oberon, I almost never use him. Like, ever. It's so weird.
Yeah, I would say... Yeah, go ahead, finish.
Go for Oberon first, and then probably because of your flavor, I would say probably Koyanskaya. Probably.
Yeah, that was.
Do we have more? Do we have more Castoria rate-ups in the future? I feel like we do.
Oh, almost certainly. She's not as crazy popular as like Morgan, but she gets slotted in a decent amount. And yeah, what I was going to say earlier was just like Oberon's like maximal potential comes out when you have Buster Servants, but his weird niche to NP damage amp is, as like you said earlier, technically universal. Then if you can get Koyan of Light as a follow-up, that can really help your Buster teams either get crazy good damage for like finishing big waves, or also just do reloading strats to like get through looping nodes. Usually with like the Oberon big burst window save to make sure you clinch that third wave. So yeah, like that's, if you are more Buster focused, that is a better strategy to like try and get Oberon in the mix. Because he does also, have an offensive MP himself. I know so does Koyanskaya of Light, but that almost never comes up. It can, though, because she does do team-wide charge. Keep that in mind. But, like, Oberon's a funny little guy because he can, like, technically turbo himself in terms of NP damage, even though a lot of people don't use him that way. But, yeah, there's definitely some interesting potentials to get in there with some team choices. So keep that in mind. And Lucky brought this up earlier. Castoria just has some real good general stuff with her. She's a 50% battery no matter what, which also comes with applicable buffs like attack up and NP gain up for the whole squad. Everybody has at least one arts card, unless you're doing a funny servant skill that changes them. Like Artoria's boosted mana burst. But in general, everybody has at least one arts card, and so her arts buff is technically another invul, so like she's good. Her NP is also like really, really strong, but the reason why Castoria took off so much is because even one Castoria, and God help you, two Castorias, because then you just get 100% battery all the time, just like really soars when you've got good arts attackers. But if you don't have them, she's definitely, I think, like lower on the priority unless you're planning on like going in the future for more arts units.
Well, yeah, the thing you have to consider is that a lot of the FGO meta nowadays is about getting the boss killer NPs and the 3-turn strats. So NPs are generally come second to skills, specifically, charge and NP gain skills. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to keep an eye out for, self batteries, self damage steroids, and then, next is but also, do you have a good MP for this? Because some units aren't as popular because they're say some of the quick guys don't have enough hits to make it work with both Scotties firing that NP gain up buff. There are.
I'm just remembering the Scotty has an MP joke.
Yeah. Scotty herself doesn't ever fire her NP, which is one thing I will say, at least for these double Castoria comps. Some of them are explicitly oh, Castoria should fire her NP to presumably give you more attack up and also act as an arts chain. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting options out there, and it also is going to depend on what you're trying to do in the story. Where I mentioned earlier, how FGO still will release high level broken meta units that are breaking the mold in terms of how good they do stuff, but also they'll buff old units, and in some cases it doesn't matter how good a generic attacker is, like you're talking about those boss killer NPs. Sometimes bosses just have really annoying gimmicks that you need specific tools to deal with. I think that's how a lot of people feel with advanced quests, are all really finicky. So usually a broad berth is good. I think to start, like I said, not to talk you out of it, Oberon is probably your starter pick here because he has the most flexibility. You can turn him into your killer NP to do the damage, and also he supports the other servants you have already and will generically be useful for lots of future servants. And if you get Koyan of Light, you can use them together to do a lot of heavy lifting. And like I said, Castoria covers a multitude of sins, but you have other opportunities. There are even technically other servants who can do, anti-purge defense. Kukulkan has that very funny passive she has where her invincibles on herself are automatically upgraded to anti-purge just for funnies.
For funnies.
Because, we gotta keep coming up with weird new shit.
Oh man, we're only 3 months away from LB7. That's...
Yeah.
Oof, I am not ready.
And technically, probably closer to 2 for the start.
True.
I think that's why we're probably firing off our Fairy Cup early, because they have to do something around Thanksgiving, and also want to make sure we get that Christmas rerun in there.
All right, but I think we can be done with this question for now. I hope that helped. I do want to say our opinions are... I know the word in my head. Our opinions are opinions. I can't think of the S word. Subjective. Subjective. Thank you.
We're getting there.
So we will move on. This next one comes from Bugstick Rogue, who says, "Hey guys, I've been having fun with the beta for Wild when I can squeeze in time in. Hope you guys are too. My question is, what weapons have you found the most fun to play with so far?" We can talk a little bit of Monster Hunter Wilds here. As I am super proud of this, and I shamelessly crow about it every time it comes up. Lucky is, let's see, this is the 6th one. Yes, so I am a 6th generation Greatsword main. I've been using Greatsword since Monster Hunter Freedom on the PSP, and I swear basically every iteration, the Greatsword just keeps getting better and better. So I will probably be manning that. While I have put in time into the beta, I haven't really gone outside my usuals so far. So I've tried out Greatsword, Longsword, Dual Sword. I've tried a little bit of Light Bowgun and Heavy Bowgun, but I haven't really got into it. Haven't really trusted out any other, as I want to get back into the feeling of what I know. Because, well, I do like Monster Hunter, and I do like playing it with other people. Once it kind of I've never been so obsessed with it that I just keep playing it and playing it and playing it and playing it. At some point, I just kind of burned out, and I put it away for a couple years until the next one comes out. So there's a lot of shaking off the rust.
Yeah, and I do want to say that, as a complete Monster Hunter noob, it's definitely one of those games that's you pick it up for the first time, and you're just what alien built these controls? But, I really started to loosen up after playing it for 2.5, 3 hours the other night when it went public. So, it definitely sticks a little. I've tried a lot less weapons, but the one I think I found most comfortable out of the 4 or 5 I actually pushed buttons on was Probably Sword and Shield or Longsword. Like both of those definitely feel like I push button thing happen and I kind of like started to understand the flow of some stuff, and actually like get into it. I was able to charge my spirit juice all the way up and do funny new buttons with Longsword last night a couple of times. So like we're getting there. It's very funny, especially because I refound the half a joke tier list that JoeCat posted weeks or months ago now. So like with Wilds, you can take a little quiz and it can like recommend a weapon for you. I still tried out a couple of extras there, so like there's some stuff I need to break in. But like I think I responded like I'm like I want to be able to stay mobile but also hit hard and like have the ability to defend, and they're just like try out Charge Blade, and I'm kind of like okay. Definitely like didn't like how that felt doing the tutorial, and I'm just kind of like man, I can make it turned to axe mode go burr, but when I'm not doing that, the rest of this doesn't feel like it's meshing right. So I had to like try out a few things, and it's very funny because I believe that like some Charge Blade stuff is considered more complicated. And there were several people when I reposted this in our Discord who was like, oh, I don't know if it's that tough. But like,
well, you got to remember these are people who have played Charge Blade enough that it's basically rote memorization for them. So now they think it's easy.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing, because like in the comments of that tweet, because I'm guessing when he tweeted it, JoeCat got some pushback on that. He like said that it was like, no, I'm talking about if you literally have never played Monster Hunter before, you try to explain this weapon to a person who doesn't know it. Like, I don't know if people will instantly get Charge Blade, whereas like some of the ones he recommends is like anybody can get is like, Twin Blades, Long Blades, some of those stuff like that. I think Hammer was on there as well. Like there's a few that he had that are just like, no, if you can pick this up, you can understand what's going on here.
Yeah, no. A lot of Monster Hunter weapons have a lot of actually complexity under the hood. Like even Greatsword does like I don't know how many people know this, but a Greatsword's damage is how it's defended is actually dependent on where you hit the monster with the blade. Like it's just not hit a monster doing that. If you hit with the tip or the base of the weapon, you do less damage. So you want to try to swing the Greatsword so that you're hitting the monster with the middle of the weapon for max damage and stuff like that. So like there's some moves with longswords you can only do at max spirit.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of some others, but unfortunately I can't really think of like I don't know how deep Dual Blades is. Dual Blade is just fun because I get to Beyblade. I actually posted a video of me doing a focus mode attack on the railgun and was able to get 2 Beyblades down its spot. And I'm like, yes, this is what I play Dual Blades for.
Yeah, no, you were letting it rip.
Mm-hmm. But Dual Blades and Longswords are actually pretty freaking easy to play. Just Longswords. Longsword has a a Longsword has a bit of a bad rep. I don't know exactly why. A lot of people say it's like a weeby weapon, and I think there's like some people have some toxic opinions on it, or people who main it. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I did see a tweet earlier that was kind of funny, where it was like somebody like said, I don't think we should judge people based on what Monster Hunter weapon they use, and then like the next comment down was like, okay, now I've played in some longsword rando guy like interrupted my fight with, I think it was with Railgun Man, and like he never hit a wound and like tripped me up like 3 times, and like on the one hand, like yeah, I get it, I can see, especially having played a little bit of longsword, I'm like yeah, no, it's like I found it like better than some other stuff because it's like you have to be methodical. That's part of Monster Hunter. Like, that's something I did know going, having never played it before, even know going in, is like, no, this is not going to be like a pure fast-paced action game. It's like a game of picking your strikes and where you're beating up the monster, a little carefully. Sometimes you're just, okay, well, he's only got 2 feet on the ground and that's where we can hit, so we're just going to hit the feet. But, there's a little bit of like thinking about your timing and, you've got a stamina bar, so you got to, place your movements right. It's not like Dark Souls or anything. Like, it's not, I don't think it's quite that, like, punishing / rewarding for, input mastery.
I think it's a little Dark Souls. Like, there are some things that if you just get hit with, you die. You're done.
Yeah, no, I experienced that last night. Like I said, I think they've got their very funny warning, but like, I don't think it's quite the same as, like, especially later games where, the, like, Sekiro and Elden Ring get really wacky with the mobility because of your ability to like go vertical and shit. But like it's in a similar vein, you know. You've got a dedicated evade button. You have a stamina meter, but it's also, I think a lot of it is like even more possibly strategic than Dark Souls, because like if you're out on the hunt too long, your max stamina goes down. So eat a fucking snack, you know, that kind of stuff, right? Like Dark Souls could never. I kid. The Soulsborne games actually have a lot of consumables that do a lot of stuff that can be very important, but it's a very different vibe, I think. But you know,
no,
it's
but like
still
talking about
like
like yeah, but talking about like, you know, being careful and it's like as a greatsword user, I think they actually took it out for Wilds. I'm not sure, but it used to be that when you did a greatsword has an uppercut attack. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Rising Slash or something. This is basically what you do when you hit triangle and circle at the same time. You basically do a swing uppercut. It used to be that if you hit a player with that, it would send them flying into the air, which could really upset it. So I got into the habit of, you know, not using it. But I started trying to use it more in Worlds again, because with Worlds they started letting you have well, I don't know if it was started in Worlds, but you could start doing, you know, mountings and more like aerial attacks, and I could upper sweep someone into an aerial attack and hopefully get them the mount. So it's one of those things of like, a lot of those things are in the game for a reason, and you shouldn't necessarily expect randos in your game to necessarily understand the coordination we might need in, you know, said game. If everyone's trying to play a single player game together, of course you're not going to work together. It's just one of those things.
I think voice chat is off by default for even the crossplay beta, but like the Monster Hunter, from like what I've seen of people doing it and like talking about it, and especially playing it with a group, I was way more like frustrated and like struggling to just push buttons when I was alone in the tutorial mission versus the Chupacabra. I keep calling him that because like his name is kind of like that, but it's shorter. But I also just like, it starts with the cha, so I'm just like Chupacabra. Like doing that was like, also, yeah, that guy's like real. I assume it's part of like teaching you the thing. They want to make sure he has enough time to like run away from you and like get ready to take a nap or whatever. But like for the starter hunt man, he's beef. He's big chunky. It takes a while. But like then compare that to, you know, even us getting our ass kicked by Regua, like literally, you know. Axe got fainted once. I got knocked out a couple of times. Like one of those was by I think one of his attacks, which was just like, this will kill you. My life bar like started freaking out and beating before he hit me, just to like let me know, hey, this is bad. Didn't get out of the way. You know, fucking hiding behind rocks, shooting lasers at us and shit. And it's just like, that still felt a lot better, you know, like. So like it just feels like it's one of those games that's like, you can probably be enough of a dedicated single-minded player, possibly even, dare I say, a tryhard, to get through all of it on your own, or, you know, take a risk with randos. But it seems like it's a game that is designed to be co-opted, ideally with people you are willing and able to communicate with, whether that's through just remembering to actually, like, use all your fucking communication buttons and emotes, or, you know, nowadays, you know, be in a VC call. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll probably talk a little bit more about specific stuff later. I do appreciate at least that I have at least been aware, you know, because as like I said, he's been playing Monster Hunter a long time. I know a lot of other people have. I even said earlier today that like when the game actually comes out, I'm already predicting that our Discord is probably going to need a separate Monhunt thread, and there will probably be at least for like the early rush when it comes out, and there will probably be a lot of groups jumping in our various voice calls to do shit. Just because I feel like we got a lot of people interested in both the beta and the final one.
I ordered my Steelbook edition.
But like it's, you know, just one of those moments where like I've seen enough about the memes to know that like in past games some people have definitely had some very poor opinions, like tier listing certain weapons, but like the actual like true crux of it seems to be that like technically none of the weapons in Monster Hunter are bad. It's just like finding something that makes sense to your brain. Like and I greatly appreciate that. All too often in games, like, there's at least one moveset or weapon selection and stuff that just is nothing, you know? Whether it's, like, people don't like it or it's bad, but, like, it seems like everything in Monster Hunter has a purpose, and, you know, when you find the weapon where you're just like, yes, no, I feel the flow of this button. I understand. I naturally push combos. Also, I'm sure it's the thing that people complain about being a weeb, but, you know, like, longsword, you know, you can, you do a button combo, you can't do an EI attack. You just sheath it and come at him.
No, it's great. I love it.
Well, and it gives it, like, the thing I kind of like about it is, like, longsword is, like, it feels heavy and chunky, but it's got, like, you know, you can overhead or thrust for, like, a little bit of, you know, precision. But, like, several of your attacks also have mobility built in. One of your moves is, you know, the fucking backstep slash, and like I said, you can, like, EI slash to scoot forward. Like, it's slow, but has a little bit of, like, mobility and reach built into it, which is also, like, a real-life fact about wielding a fucking, you know, Odachi or Zanbato would be. Like, you would not just, you know, use it like a fucking baseball bat.
Oh yeah, no, that's the fun thing about great swords is great swords are actually kind of a hybrid between blunt and sharp weapons. While the great swords are not as good as things like the hunting horn and hammer is for breaking and staggering, you can actually get a good amount of it. Get a good amount of it. It's there is a lot, and I mean a lot of thought put into how Monster Hunter weapons work, and I think it's one of the reasons why people have such strong feelings about them. The reason, like I love the heavy bow gun, but I specifically love the heavy bow gun because I can put a shield on it and then get enough gems or decorations, whatever they're calling them, to get an ability called auto guard, which just means every time I get hit, I just auto guard. So I can just tank behind my heavy bow gun and be like, and just, you know, Schwarzenegger walk at
you just become the heavy machine gunner, but Monster Hunter.
Yeah, no. And so it's like,
yeah,
there is a lot to weapons and Monster Hunter, and even more so when we get into this is the thing that I am slightly upset about. No, I shouldn't say upset about, because I'm not really upset about it. It's a beta. But it is a bit of a downer, is that while they only give you the starter weapon for each weapon type, and you only get like the first you get the hope set and then the first 3 monster sets. And so you don't really get to let it play around, because a lot of Monster Hunter is actually in building up your passives and abilities so you can better define your play style. Like,
yeah, that's something I also understand very well about the game, is just like the crafting grind set is wheel. Like, you can get the materials from the monsters, but I don't think you can use any of them in the beta.
No. Like, nothing like the armory. The armory's not open. The kitchen's not open, or blacksmith, I should say, not armory. The
that said, not open. I love that even in the beta they've given you already. You've got your fucking fishing rod and portable grill in your pocket at all times.
Oh yeah, no. Like, this is something that I've been finding weird. A lot of people have been talking about, like, they're doing so much with the Monster Hunter, but it's not as good as the old ones. I'm all like, boy, are you fucking kidding me? You want to go back to individually loading areas and doing a pose anytime you drink a potion while standing still?
I was about to say, yes, Lucky literally just did that. GIF. Oh boy. No, but also, yeah, no, it's true. Like, and I will say, I haven't studied it very thoroughly, but when you take a second to look at it, the map in Wilds Beta, very good. Numbered areas. I like this. Lots of different kind of icons. You're fucking... I think we're just in the free talk where we talk about Monster Hunter Wilds now inside Mailbag.
Yeah, we are.
It's fine. We don't care. R.I.P. You. Oh no. Future scrollers, you were bamboozled. You had to scroll to the middle of the episode.
Yeah, no, they were always Robin is right. In old games, they were always numbered, and they were individual zones. Oh god, I just remember the pain of walking into a zone, having to load into your other zone, immediately get hit by something, get knocked back into the previous zone, and have to load again. Yeah, and then be like, all right, here we go again. Walk back, load again. I'm just like, you want to go back to that? You want to go back to that?
No, and like I said, I get that they used numbered zones, right, to like break up the loading screens, but like they kept the numbers so you still have a point of reference, which is really good. But also, it's just like most games on SSDs these days. and also the Nintendo Switch somehow exactly just for Legend of Zelda, where it's just like a big world map where stuff is, and your Chocobro, your secret, your lovely lizard bird man, just drives you wherever you want to go. Give him a waypoint, give him a scent, and just jump on. Bird does the rest of the work. He'll avoid problems. He'll fucking automatically scale up stuff. I remember when we were doing one of our Monster Hunter fights where we fought the rock frog again. Like, the guy fucking sent me flying off a fucking ledge, and I was just like, Bird, help me get back up there. Figure this shit out for me. Just Bird comes and takes me right back up to the fight. Like, it's good. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff, I think, going on. And there'll be more there, and it's just like, I mean, people are always going to have nostalgia goggles, but like, as much as we do say that like graphics aren't everything, like, Wilds is doing pretty good. Like, they've done a lot with what they got. Like, they have.
You say that, but I have been seeing some issues on PC with some textures not loading.
Well, yeah, that's always the optimization thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
you got to make sure you have enough juice, and like I said before, I think, in fact, they put it in the requirements that you're supposed to be doing this on an SSD. Like, and this is why they're doing the crossplay beta. But when it works, like, they have some very fine, high-quality textures. Like, they have a lot of detail on everybody. Like, the people are, like, super detailed and pretty. There's so much fucking floof you can get on your personal Palico. You can do a lot of stuff there, right? Like, and the environments are just like, yeah, no, it's real good. But also, as far as I can tell, like, everything I feel like I can make sense of when I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right, we're in a tunnel. Okay, there's some water. We jump in the water. We swim in the water. Well, what's that? Some vines? We can go up there, Like, there's just, it's, like, looking and flowing really well, and they have a lot of detail in their outfits, and the cutscenes are really good. I did immediately notice, like, when they did the pop, like, they did a hard transition from, pre-rendered to in-game. Like, there was one cutscene that was clearly, like, preloaded and all mapped out and stuff, and then they, like, switched just being, like, one of the normal in-game models talking without, like, extra lighting effects and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I definitely noticed that. And I know, we've talked about, like, it seems like there's a few, like, cases where the frames get a little freaky because Monster Hunter is tracking a lot.
Yeah, no, like, I'm, like, running at, like 30 FPS right now. I don't necessarily mind it, but...
I mean, definitely, I feel like older games probably weren't running better, per se. They were running inside different tech constraints. Like you just said, there was areas where this game would be full of loading screens. You'd walk into an area, we talk about that thing, right, where the rock frog just punched me off a ledge, you'd get fucking tail slapped out of the area and have to walk back in, like, because that's just where the hard tech cutoffs used to be, and all kinds of other, bullshittery. So, like, it's new entries are going to have their own teething problems, and it is obviously, like, still a beta, and, like, I agree with you that I think, like, mission-wise it seems very, and resource-wise it seems very limited. Like, it's literally you do the intro cutscene, the tutorial, you get a little bit of, like, follow-up, and then it's just like, yeah, just try out how our open world feels, Like, there's guys, you can check them out, some stuff spawns, some weather effects happen, and boy do they happen. When the fucking desert lightning storm just whips up out of nowhere, man, that shit is ominous, So, like, yeah, but also it's definitely, like, I'm wondering what they were thinking aesthetically when they were like, yes, this is our open beta. Our starter zone is desert and grassland. By the way, we have a weird sandworm lizard guy who can do a fucking antlion pit trap attack. There's no way that we're not going to blow up some computers with the sand physics. Definitely won't happen. But hey, I mean, it is the beta test. If you gotta get him when you can get him, But like I said, these days games just usually look real good to me, and that's probably because I started playing, Super Nintendo when I was fucking 4 years old, and shit was, flat ass sprites, which still looked good, but like very limited, very specific needs. Yeah, the monsters are hunting your graphics cards. The storm is actually your GPU fan spinning up. But yeah, I mean, if we want to go ahead and get any other, like, general thoughts, there's a few other things I could talk about with it, but we could also go back to Mailbag.
What do you guys want? Do you want to keep talking about Monster Hunter Wilds right now, or you want to like save some thoughts on that? Because I can go either or. Just talking about, I'm like, I'm gonna go play some right now, so I'm fighting me a giant rot frog right now. Like I said, I've seen a lot of iteration over the generations, and I just love like seeing how they always just add little things. All right, looks like people are saying cool if we keep on yapping about it. So, the mounts aren't necessarily anything new. Like, I'm actually getting, a new friend here actually showed up in Rise with the what do they call them, Palamos and whatnot. But I do think that they've definitely like increased what they could do, like gave them better, I guess for the lack of a better word, AI, and then added a little bit more utility to them. But the thing that I think is blowing my mind personally right now is that your guild assistant actually goes out into the field with you. She has her own dragon bird, and you can just in the middle of the field talk to her and pick up a quest from there. If you're just out in the field and you just start attacking the monster, you'll just automatically get the quest. Because how it used to be, like even back in Worlds, is you would have to go to the guild counter, pick a quest, and then head out into the world to do it. But now it's just like, nah, just do whatever. She will like she's just keeping track of like what you're doing, so it's fine. So it makes it real easy just to keep actually doing stuff.
Yeah, that was something that was very interesting, to see, because like I said, this is my first time ever playing very seriously, and it's like, yeah, no, you just, what you decide to fight a big monster when Alma, the assistant just catches up with you. She's just like in the back being like, okay, we've started the quest, and when you're done, you just get to wrap up and you don't have to like return home. You get your mission results right there and you just keep going from where you stopped,
Mm-hmm.
And like they've done a very good at this transition to open world of just keeping stuff flowing. Like, I'm sure there was... I think it's like... Good.
No, it's really good for like just maintaining flow, and so you don't have to keep running back to the base camp like every mission. If you want to just be out in the field, gather a bunch of stuff, and keep going, you can. In Worlds, I think, I'm pretty sure that's when they started doing... They might have done it earlier. I cannot remember. But they might have started doing, like mini camps and there so you can like restock and whatnot. But like they've iterated upon this like again and again, and I love it. Like, this is like makes me curious to see like what they might be doing in like other things they might have planned, because like I said, this is only the beta, so they don't have everything unlocked at the moment.
Yeah.
There's
and we got like still got like 3.5 months before it actually comes out.
Yeah.
So like obviously if they're going to beta, the game is mostly feature complete, but that does mean that there's still like quite a lot they're holding back. And yeah, I mean, that's another thing I was going to bring up, where I was like, I actually find it interesting talking about like the small camps. I'm like, I'm sure they did something with like resupplying or like checkpointing in the field, but the way they have it in Wilds, like you just have your camping kit in your gear forever, and if you come up on a good spot, you can set up a pop-up camp, which becomes a fast travel point. No towers or nothing, just if you find a good spot to camp, you can decide, let's make a camp here. And you can only have like so many out at a time. Like there's a resource budget for it, but still it's the kind of thing where it's like, that's really cool, and I think speaks of what Capcom wants Monster Hunter to be, where it's like, no, you don't understand. This isn't just, we start the raid, we queue up who's the biggest, nastiest guy. No. You figure out where the biggest, nastiest guy lives. You stalk him for a couple hours. You make sure you find the right plants on the ground that irritate specifically him. You find out sorry, just thought of a good joke there. You find the enemy's allergy chart, and you find specifically what pollen will make him the most annoyed. Throw it in his face. Set up camp first. Eat a big meal. Like, it doesn't have to be all that detailed, but I do like they have enough of this detail to be like, no, this is a game where we want you to think about pre-planning. Like, they have simplified, like, I, busted out the portable grill, and it just had, like, recommended meal, and I'm just like, okay, let's see what that does. And it's like, extra max health, extra stamina, stuff like that. Like, good-looking stuff, but also, you still have all your ingredient selection and things, and I'm sure, they'll, like you said, they'll open up a restaurant, a cookery, to work you through all that stuff. There's plenty of stuff on the ground to work out, and so the game can kind of, like, smooth brain some stuff for you, but it feels like they have done a really good job of concisely being like, no. You are the monster hunter. You are here to deal with these guys when they're being weird and aggressive. And also sometimes to beat up weird bugs who decide to get in the middle of your other boss fight. Or at that time, what was it? I think it was the Doshiguma was like one of those weird like pangolin anteater things, like just Mr. President for him. I just jumped off my mount in the middle, and like the guy was just walking right in front of the actual target's legs, and I'm just like, buddy, you're in my way. Sorry, poor choice on your part. But like, no, it's a hunt. You're like supposed to study, plan out, and giving you all these little options to do some of that mobility and planning is good. And I will say, like, what I was going to say about talking about it was, plot-wise, I think, like, I don't know how story-heavy Monster Hunter games usually are. I have watched tournament montages, like, something about, Monster Hunter videos that, like, does make, even in his, like, super compacted way, makes it seem like, yeah, you've got, like, a plot, and you have, like, events happen, there's stuff that goes on as you develop, but they give you, I think, everything you need to know about the pitch in the opening cutscene, where, like, they're straight up like, you're a Billy Badass Hunter. This guy is talking to you. We're sending you to an area that's been forbidden for, like, 1,000 years. You have this, nerdy girl to help you, and this small child, and some backup guys. We'll give you some red shirts, and possibly some mauve shirts. Here is your sand boat. I don't know, go crazy, Like, that's it. They're just like, go forth. The area was, like, forbidden, so they have an excuse for you to, like, send a small team and, like, know that there's going to be something that's going to try and eat your face, because it's been forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, do I need to know about, like, what the detail of the Monster Hunter country I left behind to go travel to the Forbidden Wasteland? No. Who cares?
Well, no. All Monster Hunter story serves the point of finding more monsters for you to fight.
Yeah, no, like and like I said, I think they do a real good job of understandably compacting that into, like, that opener cutscene. Like, you literally do a sepia tone flashback, and it just, like, gives you all you need to know. You are an elite guild hunter, big enough that the big boss wants to send you out. You've got these people to support you. They get, like, little title flash screens to introduce everybody. You have a super dramatic chase scene to kick it off, and you're just like, no, this is it. This is it. You're hunting monsters now. And like I said, I assume that most stories, like, follow that flow, but it's just, this is just a masterclass in, like, getting the player into the moment. You're just like, here's what you need to know exactly, all in the entire opening cutscene, and then eventually, I'm sure, we'll discover some bullshit. It's, like, all deserty, so there's gonna be, temples buried beneath the sands. The mysterious boy we've rescued has a weird rock that nobody knows where it came from. Maybe the rock will contain secret ancient Egyptian laser beams, like Castle in the Sky or something. Actually, no. What it'll be is that the weird rock he has is monsters get it in their teeth, and it gives them superpowers.
Honestly, you might be right. You might be right about that. I have been noticing some monsters with some glowy bits on them.
Yeah, I mean, we already have, like, a weird rock shell frog lizard guy, the Doshiguma is like a bear bison, but he's pretty normal. And even it starts with a B. It's like Bahilian?
Balaluka? I don't know.
Yeah, the sandworm guys, like, they do, like, weird drill tail stuff and, like, spit something. Looks like the black tar from X-Files, but that's pretty normal. But the Apex Predator is a literal wyvern guy with, like, a railgun horns on his face and, like, electrical spark tails who, like, Balahara, yes, thank you. Who literally does, like, a charged railgun. Like, he'll shoot a giant electric blast that, like, glasses the sand and shit. So, like, we're not softballing you on monsters having weird powers, but I'm like, I feel like I've seen and heard enough about Monster Hunter to be like, wait, no, this is a game about fighting monsters that get crazier and more over the top. So obviously the secrets of the buried precursors, the tribe known only as the Keepers. What do they keep, I wonder? It's just going to make bigger and scarier monsters. The weird magic rock will make them, more strong or possibly more golden. But yeah, no, like I said, it's a fun time, and depending on how things are, I've been feeling a little ill in the past couple of days, and definitely, like, literally before we started, I told Lucky that, like, all right, I got show notes. I need to lay down for a little bit and recharge the batteries, so I did just, like, lay down and veg for an hour. So, like, I'm not sure how I'll feel once I've, like, clocked out of the episode and start editing it. Because there are times when I'm just like, oh, this was a good show. I could be alive for another, 5 hours. And then there are times when I finish the show and I start plugging in the audio edits and I'm just like, woo, I'm tired. I need to go to bed. I'm sleepy. I don't feel so good. So we'll see what today is like. But I definitely think even if it's just solo me, I think I would do when I get back into Wilds and poke around. There's so much stuff going on. I've had since I think I've got all my stuff unpacked finally. I am actually dug out my disc of P3R and I'm ready to get back into it. But also we've been juggling a lot of stuff. Some of which we will talk more about later when we actually do What's Up, because do still have to do a pregame. That's the phrase I use for that. Got to do a guide.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll stop with the Monster Hunter talk for right now, though. We retain full rights to tangent back to it at any moment. So let's get back to the mailbag. Oh, well, funny that. Because we actually are on the last one, but not the least one, which comes from Agent 418, who says, "Hello, Lucky and Omega. Have a good weekend, y'all." Well, thank you very much.
We're hoping. But, as Lucky said, that is the last one. Oh. Sorry if I sounded a little soft there. I was repositioning myself. Gotta let the tension out of your shoulders, chat. Stretch them out. Take a second. But, that does mean with the mailbag out of the way, it is probably time to be talking about Caldea Free Talk and doing the Tamlin Cup pregame that we have alluded to. This one will not be super long for reasons that will become evident very soon, but we'll get into it. So, the Tamlin Cup, Caldea Tamlin Cup being the full name there, is our end-of-the-year Lotto time. You might think it's a kind of a Christmas format then. No, this is honestly more of an Eurofest. I see a lot of people call it Morganfest to this day. I do think just saying Fairy Night Cup or Tamlin Cup flows a little better than that. But yes, it is actually in a format like an Eurofest. And also, I mentioned earlier talking about the requirements of this. This event is going to be formatted very interesting. So, free quests and the exhibition quests, just a Fuyuki clear. Main story cannot be accessed unless you've cleared LB6. So, they've done a way to, do an event story, such as it is for a Eurofest. It's not very big, those stories usually. But all that shit is behind the LB6 spoiler barrier. But if you want a Lotto farm, all you need to do is clear Fuyuki. How does that work out with, difficulty curve? I'll tell you later. But yeah, like I just said, honestly, there's not that much story. It is still a Neurofest, adjacent format, so there's only a total of 4 actual story quests. Main story quests. There's not even, prologue, epilogue. There's, just 4 bits. From this, you'll get 1 copy of the 3-star drop CE, you'll get 2 Sync Quartz, and a Grail. The rewards, obviously, for the actual MSQ are not very big, but the main thing is going to be the Lotto. On the plus side, this does mean that I can detail your quests pretty clearly. MSQ 1 is going to be versus a Lancer who is Armored Knight. They have 579k HP, they have a defense up and get 5 turn attack up stacks every turn. Just burst it down. Find your best sabers, burst. MSQ 2, the sequel, the Electric Boogaloo. You have a forced party where you will only fight with 4 servants. Those 4 servants are going to be, it's 5 total servants, but you're forced to pick, technically all 5, but it's one of those ones where, 4 of them are NPC support. You're going to have a forced party selection that is Britomart, Waver, LMLO Tuyor, Zhugelang, if you're following at home and don't know the latest, Gray, Astraea, and you must use your own mash with Ortonax equipped in the front row. There are 99 enemies total, 6 of them will be on screen. All you care about is killing 3 of the enemies who is an archer, all the rest are berserkers, I believe. 3 times, then 6 turns. The archer class enemies have 80k HP. So it's a time attack with very specific servants you've got going on there. And then, MSQ the third, Revolutions, is a split. You get to pick. You can either use, so for quest 1, your party selection is, you have to take mash, you have to take your mash, you get NPC Britomart, and you get to pick either using NPC or your Gray. And your opponents will be a Barghest with 321 and 403k HP, and a Baobon with 295k and 335k HP. You get big defensive buffs that only last 5 turns, but they are pretty big, like 1,000 HP per turn, defense up, damage cut, etc. Bargus gets attack up on kill, so if she kills you, she gets attack up. And Babo gets quick up every time she hits a regular attack for like 3 turns, and also just has like 30% crit up at the start permanently. So watch out for that. Option 2 swaps Gray for Astrea, which probably makes it a better fit because she's a ruler. And your opponent options are Melu and Babo. Melu's got 310k and 409k HP. She gets 1 extra NP tick per round, but she has a permanent 30% NP damage down buff. Again, pretty normal story stuff, if you've played LB6. Baobon is the exact same as the first time you ran. But guess what? I lied. I know there are 4 quests, but there's only 3 fights you have to do. That's how they made it be 4 fights, because you get to pick between 2 at the end. MSQ4 has no battle. It's just the Grail.
Oh, interesting. Sorry, I am playing the beta right now, and I just got the notification that Doshiguma just destroyed one of my pop-up camps.
Okay, so that's another factor to him. So you can set him up, but if you set him up, somewhere where angry monsters are, they'll squish him. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Usually the monsters you're actually hunting in Monster Hunter are guys who are like territorial or, otherwise a serious threat to people even just existing near them. So it makes sense they would pick on your little camps. But yeah, no, like I said, the story very simple. 4 nodes. The last one's not even a fight. They do have some complex fights there, but you can do a lot of different things going on. And I think with the HP levels, the possible difficulty curve is going to be up there for like some LB6 fights, but it's not going to be quite as crazy challenging. But you will have a lot of HP to chew through. So if you are not through LB6, you'll miss out on 1 Grail, but otherwise, you'll be able to do almost all of the stuff. So, as a Mirafest like, free quests are in 3 blocks. It'll rotate, every so often. They're called checkpoints on the wiki. I don't know what the exact translation will be in English, but there's 7 each phase. You start at, number 1 and go through the 7th quest. So, these are mostly monoclass, and most of them are pretty low HP since you only need a Fuyugi clear. Quest number 1 is like 30k HP tops on a guy, but each checkpoint, each phase of the cup, the 6th and 7th free quests are the big ones. These are going into like 90 plus territory. Their setup varies a little each time, but the 6th and 7th quest of every phase break the 3-3-3 rule. So some of them will be like, 2-1-2, some will be like 3-2-1, shit like that. And also can mix up their classes and have much more HP. So like, if you're doing the 7th node in any given checkpoint, expect to fight a guy with a shitload of HP. So much HP.
So much.
How much HP? I'll tell you in a second. So nodes 5 and 6 still cap out at around 120k HP at most. So like, even if you're having to deal with like let me actually double check, but I think the final node of or the 6th node, I should say, of phase 3 is like. What's so funny while I'm typing in a wiki?
I'm sorry. So, one of the things that you can do in Monster Hunter is you have something called a capture net, which you can use to capture small life. So a lot of the bugs you see flying around and other like little critters, you can throw them with a capture net. So I've been running around and I'm throwing my net, catching things, like bugs and stuff. And I throw it on a paratoad. So, Omega, a paratoad is basically a frog that if you kick it, releases a cloud of, paralyzing gas. Very good for, stomping a monster suddenly. But, because I'm just testing out the capture net stuff, I threw my capture net on it, it captured it, and I just heard a ribbit come from my controller every time I did it. I'm just like, Oh yeah, Legendary, the point of no return is very point of no return. You'll see. Yeah, you thought you were at the end. No, you were not actually at the end. This was actually very awkward for me because I had actually done everything I wanted to do before that point. I was just like, oh, I guess I'm just going to spend these next few days kind of just living my best life, I guess.
Big chillin'.
But no, I am laughing at capturing things and saying, like I said, I am just trying to get back into the feel of things because you have a lot of tools actually in this game. Like you have binoculars. You have binoculars, you have your fishing rod. I don't know why they give me a fishing rod. I never fucking use it. I just use a capture net on fish. It works.
Listen, some people are here for the pure sport of fishing. But yeah, so, for example, in checkpoint 3, the third checkpoint, the 6th node is 133. The main weird thing is that your final fight is going to be versus a Herc with 180k HP, a Canis with 103k HP, and an Achilles with 122k HP. Notice how none of those are the same class, chat.
Oof. So,
like, the HP values are not bad, especially because there is a damage CE. It's a Lotto event. You expected this, but just to let you know, there is one. And admittedly, the one with the highest HP is a Berserker, but you're still going to have to figure out how you're going to do, like, enough neutral damage on a Lancer and a Rider, or you're going to have to do a Berserker rig, which will not hit Herc as hard. It's very doable, but like I said, it gets weird. Now, for comparison, the 7th node of checkpoint 3, node 37, is 331. The second wave has a mid-boss servant who is 235k HP, and the final boss wave is a Kentoki who has 1 million HP. So, we're back on this shit. You will need some very hard-hitting, big slam. It's true, they are all divines if you can do trait damage. But yeah, no, like, you're gonna need to hit those big jumpers. And also still be able to clear, like, waves of 3 guys who are, like, big. I'm also very interested to see how this node gets translated if they keep all the names, because everybody is named for sumo stuff in this final node. Expect more puns, by the way, chat. It's an Eurofest type event. You're gonna get punny.
Gotta have puns.
Yippers. Like, there's an enemy in the second wave. It's not the mid-boss, but he's named Great Yokai Yokozuna in the original. So they're having fun. But yeah, no, if you want to farm the bestest best node, you gotta be able to close out on a 1 million HP hit. That said, if you're just pure, like, Lotto farming, I'm pretty sure you can do the 5th and 6th battles better. The main thing is if you also want the other currency drops, the 5th node of checkpoint 3 doesn't have any of that. It's one of those nodes where it's just Lotto currency, so you're going to want to at least jump up to 6. And if you can jump up to 7, you can also get all those, like, mats drops and lots of extra materials as well. But yeah, so, pretty stonks. Also, there are 7 exhibition quests. They are all hard. They're going to have bosses who are probably going to have, like, over 1 million HP total, usually across 3 bars. I'm not going to step in to explain them because I looked them up on the wiki, and, like, each boss has, like, a fucking table and a flow chart of, like, when they proc their skills and how they react based on what. Like, the first exhibition quest is versus, like, a big beefed up Li Shu Wen, and, like, he'll do specific things if you have, like, evades and shit. So, like, it's pretty crazy. The main thing I'm going to tell you, you may need some dedicated guides for this if you can't crack this on your own. Just remember, no team revives, you cannot Seals revive or St. Courts revive after you lose, no continues, and no duplicate servant IDs. So no double servants allowed for exhibition quests. And that's what I can give you. They just give you a summon ticket and 5 of a mat you can probably get elsewhere, but, they're big toughies, so you can, like, try them out. And the final one is, like, a crazy in-depth, like, Morgan fight where she, like, summons extra guys who, like, give her buffs, but also when you kill them, they give more buff. Like I said, it's like, the programming team had to be fucking sweating this year with this shit. It's pretty wild. I will probably, because I have a pretty decent well-leveled servant lineup, I will probably take a crack at some of them, but, like, they seem to be going above and beyond in terms of, like, weird shit they can pull off with these exhibition quests. Now, why are you doing all this bullshit, chat? Why would you come here, besides to look good in front of Morgan Le Fay? Well, let me tell you, you're doing this for Lotto boxes. Sorry, I don't know why I wrote this in all caps in my notes, and I felt the need to break out the boss weapons voice.
Boss weapons!
You've got boss weapons? That's right! Right down the road.
Right down the road.
People at home, if you've never seen Happy Souls, you should. You'll understand so many more of our otherwise 1%er jokes that way. Anyway, the Lotto boxes. You've got a usual formula. Box 1 through 10 is a grand prize. You can't close out the box until you get the grand prize. 11 plus doesn't have a grand prize. The prizes for boxes 1 through 5 are copies of the Damage Boost CE, which I wrote, I guess, in a belated Halloween as Damage Booze CE in my notes. Oops.
Damage Booze.
Box number 6 is one of your lures. There's a shitload of lures in this, by the way. And 7 through 10 are some gold foes. Other items in your Lotto boxes are going to include skill gems of all varieties and colors, Kronunos plushies, which are a currency, apples. It's one of every color for the first 3, and I think it goes down to like just silvers and bronzes in the later ones. But apples, EXPs, friend points, mana prisms, QPs, and mats such as soaps, homunculi, stingers, proofs. No, some of you need those hero proofs, and stakes. Also, once you've cleared box 11, or gotten to box 11, you can roll 100 boxes at a time. Yippee! So yeah, it's a skill gem lotto, but also there's a shitload of EXPs in there, as I said, and you can get some apples at earlier points. Lots of QP if you're into that, and just you can go ham. So the store also has more items. Those Kronunos plushies I mentioned before, those are a currency. You can exchange those for the command codes and other command code stuff, unlocker keys, and etc. That also has another crystallized lore. And, as usual, you can exchange, like, one plush for, like, 500k QP as well. So, extra plushes just turn into QP. Now, the other currencies, which are just, again, telling you that it's kind of like a Neurofest gag, they're just Morgan medals, but, bronze, silver, gold. This will get you 4 copies of the Lotto Drop CE, Cry Ivritim. Yes, you will be hunting a drop. That said, at least with Lottos, you're probably doing about a bajillion runs, so also this is how I spelled Cry Ivritim in my notes chat. You've got your foes. Once again, a lot of lores. There's like at least 1 crystallized lore per currency, and I think like gold we have like 2, so there's like 6 of these fuckers in here. Saber, Archer, Lancer, Berserker statues. Funny how those classes line up. And more mats such as tuplet crystals, ashes, giant rings, seeds, night metals, yarn balls, hearts, roots, fantasy scales, feathers, and oil lamps. So all in all, some pretty primo mats in there. Got some new shit, got some old shit, got a lot in there. Now this release should also be coming down with a bevy box of banners. The big one that'll be running the longest is there's going to be the new limited Britomart, who they've already started advertising, which I find interesting. They only showed her in silhouette, but they did, say the name and the star level already. And that'll also have Barghest and Babanshi on it. The second summon campaign will be, a few days later. That's going to be a short wombo combo. You're going to get 2 or 3 days, depending on the time zones, for a combination of Charlemagne and Roland, and then a Bradamante and Roland combo a couple days later. And the third one gets a lot more chaotic. You've got, again, very short, 2 or 3 day rotations of Brynhild Kremhild, Sig and Sieg, Sigurd and Siegfried, but I really wanted to just make the joke there. And then, funnily enough, because they're in those last couple nodes, the last banner is going to be a Kentucky Herc wombo combo. So, again, depending on where your St. Quartz is at, especially because that there will be no new limited units until New Year's. Some very interesting raid ups. So like I said, they're all pretty short. I don't know. They might be longer for Ed A because we're not probably crunchifying as much. We're not getting as scrunkly. But keep your eyes out because there are some good banners. This is our first opportunity to get a second crack at a couple of the rare units from Traum. And I think it's been a little bit since Sigurd is at a raid up. And obviously, Barghest and Baobanshi are, both story locked as well. So the Britomart banner is not terrible either. We'll be aiming to get your Britomart Wanted out over the upcoming week, because like I said, the pre-release does end the 7th, so this could fire as soon as next Friday. But yeah, this event should be very straightforward. I wish everybody luck in lottoing. If you clear 100 boxes, I don't want to know. But hopefully, because skill gems are precious, we can all slam some jams. I always appreciate a good skill gem Lotto. Oh, Robin is typing. Okay, good. My brain was like, oh, is Robin going to tell me already he's made 100 boxes? No, it's fine. He just said he's only made it to 80 boxes so far. That's fine, so long as you didn't break 3 digits. I keyed. But yes, that is the free talk and the event pregame. Let us take a brief intermission, because I need to go wet my whistle. We're back into it. Whistle wetted. But yeah, that means it's time for the What's Up type section, where we have the possibility to talk about things.
And stuff.
Stuff, my favorite. Obviously, this is where, Monster Hunter Wilds talk would have gone, and may come again, but...
Well, we were talking a lot about the gameplay, but I also do want to shout out the character creator. I am never happy with my character. Every time I do a couple hunts, I'm like, let me go back in the character creator. Let me tweak some things. Let me move some slides and stuff. Change the makeup. More face paint. Less face paint. Freckles for days. Eyeliner.
Yeah, they've got a lot of funny stuff. And to cross over some things, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen these tweets where somebody made Yoshi P as their Monster Hunter.
Oh, no. People have been making celebrities all up and down in Monster Hunter. And then some. Yeah. It's slightly crazy.
No, it is a very good character creator. And you can have a lot of fun with your Palico as well. Like I said, mine, I just scrolled through the presets, and I saw one of them was like the most evil little man. It was just like all black with like curved ears, like he's having an evil thought in a Tom and Jerry cartoon. And I was just like, that's my guy. I made him long haired and played around with some of his tinting a little, but I'm like, yeah, that's my guy. That's Grimulkin. Such a dubious little creature he is. And I love that they have tiny little hats. That's adorable.
Palicos are your friend.
Well, it says right in the name, pal. But yes, very good character creator, and like I said, the character designs and look of everybody looks real good, so long as everything's loading in properly. Sorry, I was taking another sip.
I don't know if I necessarily have anything else. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we haven't seen the full extent of what Monster Hunter has to bring to everything, so I am very excited. I played the part I played a little bit during the PlayStation open beta, and like I said, the public's going right now, but after the first night, I think it was last night, I was like, yeah, no, alright, I'm locking this in. Because it was me, Omega, and Axe who was getting some hunts in, and we did have a bit of a blast, so...
Yeah, like I said, when I first got in the call with you guys, I was like, yeah, I need to feel this game out. I'm not sure I'm down for this, but like I said, I really loosened up after a while, so I think I'm pretty good to go. But I do want to also get back in there and try it out, but... Like I said, there's so many things going on. I definitely still need to catch up on P3R and then probably grab Metaphor. Which I think they've announced PS Plus games for November. Don't remember if they were crazy.
I don't think they were necessarily crazy, if I remember right. Nothing there's struck out at me as oh shit.
The problem is that they keep doing games that I think are good, but we've already got them. Like they did the Dead Space remake for October. Cool, already played that shit. One of November's games will be Ghostwire Tokyo. I do recommend that if you haven't picked it up. But I played that when it launched. The Death Note one is really interesting. Killer Within, because that's first of all, it's a day and date on PS Plus for everybody, which is unusual for them. It's coming out November 5th. But it's it's one of those asymmetric social deduction games, but it's Death Note. One of you is the Kira team and one of you is the team under L, and you're trying to figure out who Kira is before L gets got, kind of shit. It's a really interesting premise, but it's another, social deduction game, so, that's gonna have its own baggage. I'll probably add it to my library and see if, any of the, streamer-type people or other, content creators do any videos to see what it's like. It will be free, so obviously I can boot it up myself, but, you gotta have a group. I'm not playing social deduction games with randos. I'm sorry, that's not happening. I know that, I think there were, public lobbies on Among Us. You will not catch me doing that shit. But, yeah, it's a fun one. So, yeah, I don't think there's any of those games coming up. I think it started, but I don't remember if I checked exactly. But the Metacritic score for Veilguard, 84, okay. The user score is real low. And in general, that seems to be a lot of, it's a weird case where, a very decent amount. Like the PS5 score is based on like 52 critic reviews and is an 84, so like seems reasonably spread out there. But it definitely seems like the general vibe is that like BioWare has kind of lost the plot of Dragon Age on account of the fact that none of the people who made Dragon Age work at BioWare anymore. So like that's better than I thought it would be. Wow, God, sorry. It's because it's only based off 5 critic reviews, but the Xbox score for it is 93. I guess the people playing Dragon Age on Xbox really liked it. I don't know what the fuck that says about anything, chat. But yeah, like it's something I'm still interested in picking up sometime, but I'm not gonna go out and order day one, you know? But yeah, there's a lot of good games coming out. And there's also still more other stuff. We just got our latest live letter from the producer for FF14.
Yep.
Solidifying some more details on the 7.1 series release, which is going to take a while. It's very funny. I believe the new Chaotic Raid series goes live Christmas Eve. I believe was the time zone, which is very funny. I think I said in a different Discord, I was like, Yoshi P is challenging you. He's betting that you don't have anything better to do that day.
It's true.
But yeah, that's going to be really interesting with the time to roll out stuff. And actually, I kind of figured some of it would be, but it was interesting to see the time scale and be like what they're pacing out for like 7.11 technically, because like that's when we're going to get the Watsumeki Quest follow-up, the new custom delivery, and the inexplicably Hildebrand adventures. And I'm just like, okay, we're putting a lot of stuff in there, but you know, you stretch the content out for the patch cycle for a couple months. I don't know exactly where they're going to be, but they have started showing off in-game models for a lot of the joke glamour weapons. We've seen a lot of screenshots of that. Red Mage has got an umbrella rapier. The Sage forks are a thing. I think I posted the Paladin weapon, which is, pot lid and soup ladle it's in Crow General. So like, I'm not exactly sure how those are gonna get in the game, but it looks like we got a lot of fun stuff. Had a good trailer for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's that. When 7.1 comes out, the current PvP series ends, and I am still most of a PvP level away from the mount, which is a shame because the mount is really cool.
We still got a couple weeks.
Yeah, we got a couple. It's what actually they said the exact date somewhere in there. Is it like the 11th, the 12th? But they showed off a lot of stuff from also just Alliance Raid series coming out, other stuff going on. The Hall of the Novice updates will roll out. Yeah, I know they had the date there, but I don't see it on like the special site. We still got a couple-ish weeks, but like I said, I think it's the 12th is the Tuesday, so I think it's the 12th. So, lots of fun stuff to look forward to, but it does mean I have to, at least try a little to log in every day and do a daily frontlines. Maybe slap some Rival Wing, because that also gives you Moogle Tomestones. But yeah, that's I'm juggling a lot of stuff, like I said, where I'm like, I want to get back into the wilds and try more weapons probably, but we'll see exactly what I'm doing as well. One of the things I won't need to be doing, because I've done it already, is watching the last 3 episodes of Yakuza Like a Dragon, the TV show. Because all of it is out. Technically, came out like yesterday, late yesterday night, early today morning, maybe depending on your time zone. And so it's done. It's over. At first, I thought about continuing the line. There is no more. But I'm like, man, it seems kind of mean. But also, I'm like, also, I do not actually think there will be more. We'll have to see what the views are like overall, because streaming is such a wacky, wild world. But overall, the product is not perfect by any means. I still stand by my statement last week where I was like, it's interesting. It's different, but it's interesting. I think the best way I can pitch what it's like is, imagine if probably sometime generally after Yakuza 1, but imagine at some point after the story, Kazuma Kiryu told a movie scriptwriter his life story, and the scriptwriter wrote a script that way, and obviously like condensed stuff, changed some stuff up, and squished a lot of it down, and added some different character flair. That's kind of what the Yakuza TV series feels like. It's not 100% faithful retelling, and I think there are some definite critiques to be had, but it hits a lot of the cliff notes, and some criticisms I've seen people floating over on the internet seem a little too, specific and nitpicky, Like, anything that seems like it could be a deviation from the holy canon is just like, you see this shit would never happen in a Like a Dragon game, and I'm like, yeah, because those are games, not television with 6 episodes. Yakuza games take like 60 hours. Actually, well, depending on the game, it might be a little shorter than that, but like, you're gonna be there for more than 2 days straight. So for example, this was a sequence that would happen in the first 3 episodes, but I'll talk about this. I saw some people online critiquing like a scene where after Kiryu and Nishiki are first brought into the Dojima family, they first get their little Yakuza pins to wear on their collar, right? There's a scene of them walking through Kamurocho, which again, pitch perfect, no notes. Kamurocho looks exactly like it should. And like some guys like kind of get in their way, but when they see the Yakuza pins, they kind of like get out of their way, and then a beat later, Kiryu and Nishiki just kind of like look at each other and like have a little chuckle and move on. Now, is that exactly how a scene would play out in a Yakuza game?
No,
not
you'd
exactly.
Fight them. You would fight them. You would 100% fight them.
Yeah, you would actually fight them as opposed to them just getting out of the way. But as part of like a montage of just like, hey, they're big dicks in the Yakuza, like, it's not terrible, especially because, considering they only have 6 episodes, Kiryu still fights plenty of random dudes. Like I said, I still submit this series is pitch perfect at just showing you how much bullshit Kiryu attracts. But they only have so much time to do stuff with. And I want to say, actually saying, oh, most J-dramas get like 10 to 14 episodes. I think this script needed that many episodes. 6 episodes is way too short. Well, maybe not way, but like, it means that I think that they don't really get enough time to breathe on their positive points. Like, overall, I want to say the Like a Dragon TV show, I'd probably give it like a 6 or 7, like definitely somewhere in the D to C range, like, but not because it's like mediocre all the way through. I mean, it's only the Yakuza 1 part, so probably not. But like I said, it's not like it's just like kind of blech all the way through. I give it like somewhere in the D to C zone because like it has some pretty interesting high highs for me, but also is there some stuff down there? No, there's no fleet of choppers. We probably didn't have the budget for that. That would require CGI or vehicles. They also like, this is technically spoilers. If you're going to watch the series, I suspect a lot of people aren't, honestly, because like I said, there's a lot of negative vibes around it. If you've got Amazon Prime, give it a look for yourself. Check it out. I said before, not going to be a faithful adaptation, but there is like a lot of big action set pieces at the climax, which take place both at the foot and inside the Millennium Tower. But they did a thing that I thought they were going to do, which is it's the Chinese mafia in 1, right? But
I can't remember.
I don't know. There's still bunches of extra fucking Spec Ops guys with fucking ARs for no reason that we explain in the climax. But they are more generic, I guess. They're just like the guys in demon masks thing going on. Like they cut out a lot of the foreign interference, which is a thing that the Yakuza games do get into a lot, but I do not think is necessarily required for the plot. God knows there are many jokes about the plot of 2/Kiwami 2 about like secret Koreans, So like, that's not necessarily a negative that they, like, trimmed that stuff out, but it does mean that they, like, simplified the climax a lot. And like I said, the things I think are, like, positives are, like, set design and, like, location picking. Pitch perfect. Like I said, every location looks good. All the Kamurocho scenes look just like they do in the game, like, and the interior shots are appropriate. They do get, like, a lot of mileage out of, they had, like, 1 set for the underground fighting rink, which is just a parking garage somewhere with some cardboard on the floor, but, like, it feels appropriately atmospheric and dingy, and it's one of those things that, like, I don't know what their budget, like, was for this, but I wasn't expecting them to do the fucking, cage match with the bottomless pit and barbed wire stuff. Like, the games can get away with a lot of extra over-the-top bullshit that, again, talking about, like, it doesn't look exactly like a Yakuza game because they have to make it in real life. It's like, yeah, it's not necessarily going to be... They can't actually build the bottomless pit, chat. Pits in real life have to be bottomless. It's required. Or have to be bottomed. They cannot be bottomless. So like I said, they have some limitations, but like in general, all the locations look really good. I don't think I can fault the performance of any of the actors, but I also want to go talk to the casting department about who they picked because, like, this is a genuine critique. Almost nobody looks like any of the guys from the games. Like, Kiryu's actor does a pretty good job of looking like a relatively young baby-faced Kiryu. I know that's kind of antithetical because, like, one of the things that is kind of weird about the whole Yakuza timeline, including taking into account, like, Zero and Kiwami, is Kiryu's kind of always looked like a brick shithouse. He's always been a rugged, manly mountain man. But, like, he does a pretty good job of, like, hitting the attitude. And, like, once we're in the present, you know, in 2005, the Kiryu's actor, like, hits most of the, like, stoic notes you'd expect. I think, like, Yumi's actress does a great job performing. And once he goes, like, does the evil switch and slicks back his hair, Nishikiyama's actor looks perfect, you know? But I've mentioned this before, like, a lot of other people just, no attempt was made to make them look like anybody specific. Like, there's a point where, like, the Omi and the Tojo are in, like, a little scuffle, and, like, I'm just like, this is just a bunch of Japanese dudes either dressed as, like, street punks or, you know, they're in their Yakuza suits. Some of these are supposed to be important named characters, but I don't know which ones those are because everybody just looks like a guy. Like, Shimano, for instance, by name, is a fairly important recurring character who fulfills, I'm pretty sure, a similar role to what he does in the games. But it's hard for me to, like, recognize that guy as Shimano because, like I said, he's just a normal guy. Whereas in the games, Shimano is, you know, bald-shaved head and huge. Turbo Hugh. And even when they do have good casting, I feel like it was a little underutilized. The guy that got to play Majima did his job perfectly, but they super underutilized him. He gets, like, one fight in the flashback with Kiryu to set him up, and then he just comes back for the big finish. And yes, he is dual-wielding baseball bats for the big finish. Good touch, but it's just too little of him. Like, I don't, you know, they literally gave him less scenes than in the game, even if you're not counting for Majima everywhere. And I'm just like, I feel like they could have gotten a little more mileage because that guy's killing it. Like, honestly, I'd like to see this creative team maybe, like, do a Majima side series season. Because, like, we don't see what he gets up to in the flashback, in the time skip time. So, like, they've got some room there. But yeah, like, just characters just kind of, like, have names and exist, you know? And there are times when the fight choreography feels disappointing. There's a lot of parts where, like, extras don't really sell the hits. Like, people are getting, like, punched and just, you know, flopping over like it's a season of Star Trek and the ship's exploding kind of stuff. Like, they don't really sell them. You know, a guy will get, like, touched by a katana blade, and then, you know, the guy goes for, like, a slow draw, and then he just goes, like, bleh, and, you know, falls over. There's some choppy cut around some of the blows that I think is because they weren't sold very well. But other times they do still get the vibes in. Like I said, like, I mentioned this in the pre-show, but, like, when Kiryu gets into, like, some of the bigger fights, he does get some, like, good choreography. Like, he does the equivalent of some heat actions a couple of times, you know, smashing guys into, like, mirrors or throwing them against walls. In the 1995 part of the timeline, when he's, like, in some of his big fights, he does a couple of things. Like, he gets into a grapple with a guy and, like, goes up off the ground and starts headbutting his opponent repeatedly, and he wins one of his, like, climactic fights with, I think, as close as the TV show could get to a tiger drop. He does, like, a kind of last-minute counterpunch that knocks out the guy in a single hit kind of a thing. So, like, there are times when they tried to make the action better, and, like, considering how weird sometimes the Like a Dragon games are about guns, you know, the joke about cutscene guns versus, like, gameplay guns, right? Gun guys usually in gameplay are just annoying, but, you know, in the cutscene, guns are, like, for real, you know? Like, there's a shocking amount of gunplay, and most of it looks pretty good. Like, most of their SFX and like, squibs and stuff are, like, actually doing some work. So, like, again, they got a little bit into it, but parts of it don't come through so clearly. Like, and I want to say, like I said, it's a shame, because, like, they've done some things that I think are really good. Like, kind of, one, condensing on the timeline, so, like, all of your flashback stuff happens in 1995 feels pretty good. That is a thing I know that people have critiqued about Yakuza 0, and I myself have like seen from like skimming that plot. Like, it is kind of weird that like Kiryu like just is kind of Kiryu from the word go, even in the 80s, you know? Like, he does have his moments of character growth and change and kind of like solidifying himself, but like performance-wise, he's pretty on the even keel, and obviously that's because they made Zero like way later, you know, probably for funsies. But still, it is one of those things that has sometimes struck me as odd from a character rating standpoint. And like, you know, even in the like pre-time skip, you know, zone of Yakuza 1, like, he's still pretty solidly, you know, blocked up as himself. This, you know, lets him and the crew be a little younger and stuff like that, and actually like show the character change when it's like, yeah, he's been in the joint 10 years, you know? So like that I think like overall is a better writing note. Cause like, I will say this, some people might think that, but I don't think that Kiryu is like stoic all the time, right? Like, he's very much deliberately not. It's just that I think in the games, a lot of the time they get to show his like dorkier, like more, you know, thoughtful, or even like sometimes like shy or funny side. That's usually either side stories or in like dialogue options you can pick. Obviously for a TV adaptation, you can't do that stuff. Like I said, I wish they'd had like more episodes. I was going to say like 2 more, but I want to say let's go 4 more. Let's say I wish they had 10 episodes, because like you totally could have like, even as just a 10-minute slice of an episode, done a montage where like Kiryu gets real into Pocket Circuit Fighter for a sec, and then maybe, you know, in 2005 he sees a sign in the window and just like has a moment of just like, man, Pocket Circuit Fighter, I thought that was really cool when I was a kid, and then I was in prison for 10 years, and it sucks because everybody out here is like all sad and stuff now. Like I said, that's why that scene of like him and Nishiki on the street is just like, yeah, that doesn't necessarily fit the Yakuza vibe, but they've only got 6 episodes, so they need to take these like couple of minutes out of the day to like put it in a montage to show them, you know, loosening up, being kids. There's another moment later where they basically do like, I think like a nod to like a Mr. Try and Hit Me situation where, but it's Kiryu training for his underground street fights. Like, Nishiki hangs a sign on him that says human punching bag, and like, you know, Kiryu and Nishiki are just racking in money of just people on the street trying to beat up young Kiryu, and I'm like, no, that's good. That's very Yakuza coded, but it's, you know, part of a montage. And that's the thing. There's a decent number of montages, and it's just like, they really, I think, needed a couple more episodes to breathe out some of these scenes. Like I said, I think Majima is criminally underserved by this, even though he's not even in the original that much. And I definitely want to say where they for sure missed the mark was Haruka. She's in it still, and we do still get some good moments with her, but a lot of the sequences, and this is a thing I think they did as a positive, but it also takes away from other areas. A lot of the sequences where like Kiryu's just rattling around, you know, Kamurocho or Osaka, he's hanging out with Yumi, because in this version of the story, she didn't get super amnesia and then like set up all the plot and then disappear until the climax. Like, she's actually involved all the way through. The you know, kind of like disappearing off and on stuff to set up the plot is pushed off to her older sister, who is, I think she was fake in Yakuza 1. Like, she didn't actually have an older sister, but there was like talk about her hypothetically having an older sister, who was supposed to be Haruka's mother. In the TV show, she is real and is actually Haruka's mother, but she's, you know, kind of an asshole deadbeat who gets them in the trouble for the 10 billion, you know. But like, so on the one hand, real good to actually like show these sequences where like future Kiryu can like hang out with Yumi and they can actually have like some character tension, and, you know, she can be more of a character as opposed to a lot of the time an off-screen plot device. But like I said, that means it takes away from the vibe that a lot of people are going to be much more familiar with, which is, you know, Kiryu the adoptive father. Like I said, I don't think he hangs out with Haruka nearly enough for my personal satisfaction. But like, they do good stuff with Yumi. They did a lot of good stuff with Nishiki's sister Miho. Like I said, she's like a real character who is like part of the flashback sequences the whole way through, and like actually like does a lot to set up with like Nishiki and Kiryu's characterization, you know. And obviously you know where this is going. Nishiki's, like, ultimately the antagonist. There's a big climactic fight. I think they did a decent transition of it because, like, him and Kiryu do have a fight at the end. And, like, again, technically spoilers if you're going to watch the series, but if you're not going to watch the series and you're familiar with Yakuza, you probably know all this stuff already. One thing that is a missed opportunity, probably because, once again, they couldn't actually do that in real life. While Kiryu does take off his shirt eventually, there's no, like, dramatic rip-off coat and shirt moment. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they couldn't actually do that in real life. Yakuza shirts are fucking magical. So, like, this means that they don't get the iconic scene where, like, both of them take off their shirts and show their back tattoos. But they did another thing, like, characterization-wise, that I think is like... It's not that they didn't try to emulate any of the iconic visuals. It's a lot of the specifically, like, character and fight visuals they didn't try to recapture. Some of which I think they could have pulled off. Like I said, the locations for Kamurocho are, like, pitch perfect. It's just that, like I said, they don't try to one-for-one the cinematography of some scenes. And it's like, I get that they wanted to try and, like, do their own original screenplay adaptation. Like I said at the start, the TV show feels like a screenwriter just happened to be in the bar when Kiryu told his whole life story, right? And just, like, the script is just him jotting it all down and then editing it for TV. So it's not perfect. But like I said, a thing I think they did that was a smart choice for a live action was that, like, Kiryu and, like, Nishiki fights Kiryu with, like, knives.
Oh.
Like, they've done a pretty good job of upselling you that, like, while Nishiki is more hardcore than he seemed, like, he is not the same kind of physical fighter that Kiryu is, and it's just like, yeah, I don't think I would believe if this Nishikiyama took off his shirt and tried to go mano-a-mano with Kiryu. I think they still could have gone that route to mine it for drama, but it's just one of those things that's like, no, him just going knife does make more sense. It just flows a little better. And like I said, I think they borrowed some of the visual language from, like, Judgment as well in a couple of points, which is interesting. That could actually be if they did get a second crack at it, I'm not sure I would want them to keep trying to adapt Yakuza plots, but if they try to do a Judgment TV season, that we could probably focus down into 6 episodes. But, like, yeah, so, like, again, it's interesting, but it means they miss out on some of the iconic moments. And, like, again, semi-spoilers, I guess, but, like, I'm not even for sure that, like, Nishiki died in the end. Like, they get a lot of pathos, they fight, they do a pretty good job of doing the thing where Kiryu gets the absolute shit kicked out of it at the last minute. Like, he gets, like, stabbed, like, 4 times. He catches one of Nishiki's karambit knives in his hand, you know? And I do mean in his hand. There's a scene where later he pulls it out of his palm, you know? Like, so, like, there's some hardcore shit. No, he does not actually drink a Stamina X. He does have some moments where he'll, like, between fights, like, chill and, like, you know, get a drink, eat some food. But, like, in the climax scene, they keep it pretty even, like, at the drama level. I will say there is, in the flashbacks, there's, like, I don't remember if they show a label that actually says Stamin or Stamin X, but they do have a joke about that in one of the flashbacks. They're, like, working on a heist with, like, a low-level Yakuza guy, and, like, the guy pulls out 2, like, pull tab energy cans, right? In 1995, and Kiryu's like, oh, what's that, you know, big bro? And he's like, don't worry, kid, this shit gets me through anything. Pops the can, you know, downs a tab, and Kiryu's like, interesting, drinks too. So I'm like, again, they have their little notes, but I don't think they had enough time to, like, get enough references to the source material in, and also, like, run with some of their interesting, unique character stuff. And so, like, overall, like I said, it comes out to, I think, somewhere in, like a D or C range where I'm like, parts of this are pretty good, parts of this are definitely mid, some of them I think were missteps. It's, it's not the end of the world, and I do think, like I said, for it ultimately coming out to be kind of like a contentious average, that means I think it's going to get a lot more heat. I think I've seen some people online say it's worse than, like, the 2007 live action, and I'm just like, that doesn't feel true. Like, that adaptation is, like, uniquely known for being weird. I'm pretty sure that's the one where, like, the guy they've got with playing Majima, like, not on screen, but, like, between takes, like, switches what side his eye patch is on. Like, it's got continuity errors and shit like that. That definitely, I think, is the one with the hallway scene where Majima leans around the corner, eye patch side first, which is, like, is something that Majima would do, but also if you're trying to make, like, again, it seems like most adaptations live action are trying to get more on the serious tone. Probably not something you should do in the comp. It's a little weird. So, like, I don't think the series is that bad, but it's definitely, like, it's doing its own thing as an adaptation. There are, like, things they decided to change, things they had to cut, and I'm just like, I think it would have been better if they had more gas. Like I said, I think they needed a couple other episodes to, like, get some more stuff in so that we could do stuff like, you know, give Majima, you know, a bigger scene, hit some more of the moments, and like I said, the plot being contracted, you know, there are kind of like plot beats that we don't even like really get into that I kind of like miss. Like talking about big scenes they do, like the Tojo chairman Sarah doesn't die, so there's no funeral scene, and I'm like, on the one hand, yes, that would be a really long sequence that would require them to like film, you know, at a big fancy place and like get a lot of extras and shit. And probably would take too long for their TV budget. But also, like, it's a really iconic, you know, scene, the funeral and fighting all those guys, and like, you know, could have been a chance to get a beat. So like, it's you know, a few missed opportunities. They do some, like I said, they do some decent stuff of like involving like, you know, plot elements from other games and stuff. Like, you know, there's a very funny moment where like, they're trying to track down the 10 billion. Kiryu and Yumi go down to Osaka for a little bit, and they're just like, well, shit, our Mark's not here, let's go back. They're just walking down the street, and then a guy pretending to be a bum steps in front of Kiryu, pulls a knife, a guy stands behind him and gets a gun, and like a bunch of thugs try to grab Yumi, and Kiryu just turns around, slaps the gun out of the other guy's hands, and just walks up, and like, he doesn't literally face tank like a van, but he like steps in front of the van, slaps his hand on the hood, and I'm just like, is Kiryu gonna have to like punch this guy out of the driver's seat? They stop the fight before it turns into a cool action scene, which is like sad but also makes sense. But like, again, it captures so perfectly that moment of just so much Yakuza is just wandering around and dudes decide to fight you for no goddamn reason against their better sense. And like, we get some cool moments of him like talking to like, you know, old man Chairman Goda, who's not in a wheelchair. It's a few years before that. He's healthier. He goes to the sauna. He golfs. And, like, actually hammering out some details and stuff. But like I said, it means that, like, I don't know. Like I said, they expand stuff, which is interesting, but that means they have to contract other stuff. And a lot of the stuff they contract is stuff that would have made it feel more like a Dragon-y. And so it's just one of those cases of, like, God, like I said, I would love to have seen them do 8 episodes, you know, at least. 10 or 12 would have been much better. Hell, if you've got to do it in 3-episode drops, give them 9 episodes, you know? Split the difference there between my 8 or 10. Just to give them more room to breathe, like, because let's see, they're like 45-minute episodes too, so like, yeah, it's like 4.5 hours. It's really not that long, which is like I said, the shame. It's ultimately a thing that I wouldn't necessarily recommend to a fan of Like a Dragon. I would say that if you want to, like, if you're curious and want to see somebody's take on it, give it a try. But like I said, do not expect, and I mean, it wasn't marketed as like a super faithful adaptation either, so, you know, you can't say that's like necessarily a marketing fumble, but, you know, go in with open expectations that it's not going to hit all the same notes and see how you feel, but I would not blame people if they watched it and were like, I don't know, I don't think that felt, you know, quite like a Dragon to me, and I'd be like, yeah, no, I see it. So yeah, it's like I said, it's another interesting one. You know, when we're in the realm of like, you know, video game adaptations can still be bad. Like, you know, it's one of those moments where I'm thinking to myself, will we ever get a better adaptation? And I'm kind of like, probably not, no. Like, I can't imagine this is going to do, like, gangbusters. Oh, sorry, developing a slightly runny nose all of a sudden, don't know why. It's probably me talking so much, but also being right under that AC vent. But, like, I don't know, like, because obviously I want to say some people are going to be like, but you could make a better adaptation. You could. Will a better adaptation actually get made? And I'm like, I don't know, because like I said, in real life you have constraints, you know, you have issues of like costuming. And I do want to say that, like, I think, like I said, I think most everything in this show is practical except for the Millennium Tower. Like, that's the only thing that I think is like obviously CG'd. So like, clearly this was done in a sense to be grounded and budget conscious. And so, like, obviously that gave them limitations, but are you gonna, like, is somebody gonna go, oh, let's get some serious, budget behind this. Let's get some fucking killer choreographers. Like I said, you probably could. The problem is you'd probably have to, like, bait the guy who, like, writes and directs the John Wick movies into suddenly liking Like a Dragon,
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, that's the thing. I think to get a more faithful adaptation made, you'd need to get somebody who's way more interested in, like, doing a block that looks much more like game-to-screen adaptation and, like, really fixated on that. And, unfortunately, I don't think the people who do that are in the TV or movie-making business. They play video games on the internet, probably. So, yeah, like I said, it's another interesting one. I didn't, like... Some people, like, seem, like, really upset or down on it. I don't, like... viscerally hate it, but I definitely feel like I literally watched like the final episode earlier today. I definitely watched it all through and was kind of just like, yeah, there were parts that I liked, but I definitely feel like we did not hit on some of the big hits we could have. So it's just put me in a interesting place. Check it out if you got time and you feel like it, but don't feel like you got to chase it down, I guess. And that is Omega's 5 and or 10 cents on the Like a Dragon TV series.
Sure
somebody
let $2. Jesus,
it could have been. We were here for a little bit. I still think we talked about Wild's longer, but like I said, I spent a little bit of time today, pacing around the empty house thinking about it because, like I said, people. This is something in general I do a lot when like I consume a piece of media and either I really like it or I'm just kind of like neutral on it, and I see some people seem like really negative about it, or sometimes if I didn't like something and people seem really positive about it, like I take some time to like pace around and like roll it over in my brain. So a lot of these thoughts are fairly fresh. I'll let Legendary know he can come back, but I'm going to scooch back slightly and find my handkerchief.
Hanky.
Ugh, okay. I see you trimmed some stuff off there.
Yeah, we've been going for a while. Probably ain't gonna get to all of it. Like, what's our mission clock at?
We're only at 2 hours 35, so we're not
Okay,
crazy deep. It is like 11:20 something. So
Well, how are you feeling, Omega?
I mean, I think I've said most of the stuff I want to say. I'm good to chill for a little bit. I'm a little dried out, but I can go for a little while longer. We can get some of this stuff in.
Alright, so I'll talk a little bit about anime, I suppose, then. I hope people have been keeping up with Dandadan. He said it just released episode 5 yesterday, I believe. And it is good. It is quite good. Animation remains stellar. Story is great. And the characters are phenomenal. Like I said, we are moving into the second arc here, which is probably going to be of 3 as these things go, and it is quite exciting. The thing I really do love about Dandadan right now is even though it has all this crazy sci-fi, fantasy, school life, crazy, larger than life characters going through it, at the heart of everything right now, it's a romance story, and the latest episodes really hammers that down between the main characters and how they act around each other, and I love it to bits. But the other thing that I've actually been paying a fair amount of attention to is actually the new Dragon Ball Daima. Omega, have you tried watching any of it?
No, I have not actually, but I know that a decent number of Dragon Ball fans have taken a look at it and seem positive.
Yeah, and that's what I want to say too. Like, I can't call myself like the biggest Dragon Ball fan, but it's just one of the, like, Dragon Ball to me is just one of those, what do I want to call it? Just like the ever-present creature comfort. It's just there, it. It's like it's been part of your life for so long. You feel weird. You'll feel weird if it wasn't there, kind of thing. I don't know how to properly explain it. I really don't. But like, I've watched like a lot of Dragon Ball over the years. Watched the OG, watched Z, I watched GT, Super, the endless amounts of movies they had. I didn't actually know that Crunchyroll actually had like Heroes on and stuff. I was actually watching that earlier. The new Shenron is a fucking hoot. I love him to death. But Dragon Ball Daima seems to be, I don't want to say like the new GT, but it kind of seems like the new GT. like it kind of feels like it takes place between like Z and Super. Like there's no mention of Beerus or Whis or anything like that. And like I said, they go on an immediate adventure, but it doesn't seem like it's not something, earth threatening. Because the whole premise of Daima is basically after the King of Demons gets his ass kicked, there's a new King of Demons, and he sees, Goku and friends kicking ass, and he's all like, holy shit, that fucking terrifies me. And basically, scoots off to Earth to make a wish on the Dragon Balls to turn him into kids, because in his head, kids can't fucking fight. No problem.
Little did he know, chat.
Yeah, little did he know, chat. Which is kind of the point of GT, but whereas GT goes into basically into a space exploration adventure, Daima goes into a demon world exploration.
And honestly, I feel like I can see why that probably hits people a little better, because to put this in perspective for people at home, if you haven't seen it, a couple of the guys from Team 4-Star recently did like a entire watch through of GT and kind of like had both their live reaction to the episode and their post credits, and like generally it seems like GT had a strong starting premise, but they very quickly got in the weeds of just like anime production schedule bullshit. So the space adventure parts were not necessarily the best executed out of it. Whereas I do genuinely think that like most people like when Toriyama got more mystical. Obviously, he is not directly involved in this because he has sadly passed on, but I do believe, I'm pretty sure that this is like a project he was contributing notes to before he died.
Yeah, no. So instead of like continuing the spacism that was like a lot of like the middle of Dragon Ball Z, like the beginning to middle of Dragon Ball Z, is starting from the Saiyan arrival to the end of Namek. It feels like it's much more return to its Dragon Ball roots. There's a lot more jokes. There's a lot more gags. Like I said, one of the first thing that Goku does, he gets his power pull back, and he's using that a lot. Like they've showed off before. Like I think another thing that probably makes people sour about GT is they kind of like for a while they just kind of fucked up. Told all the rest of the cast to fuck off while it was just Trunks and Pan with Goku for a while.
And also, not even Trunks and Pan get to do anything in GT, really.
Yeah. Right now, like we're establishing new characters. Like there's a new character called Glorio. Supreme Kai is hanging out with Goku as they're coming in, but you can see it in like the credits. Like apparently, like Piccolo, Vegeta, and even Bulma is going to be tagging around with them along with the other characters, like chatting with the new characters, Chatty and Glorio, as they do exploration. Which is good because again, it doesn't feel like you're trying to necessarily. You're not like Diamond doesn't feel like you're trying to expand upon the universe as a whole, but instead fill in the holes of other things. Like apparently, Nameks are actually demons that came from the demon world, and they're explaining like where like all these pointy-eared people coming from in their society, which is something that has always been like in there before because Piccolo used to be Demon King Piccolo from the demon world,
and the Z Piccolo, who's technically Piccolo Jr., like a lot of this was lost in the original dubs, but like a lot of his techniques are supposed to be demon style key techniques. Yeah. Like, so all of his attack names are super evil in Japanese. But like that's the kind of thing that, yeah, like you said, we didn't really like close that loop before. So it is interesting for Daima to be, and I had actually heard about that they kind of like wrapped it back around, but it's like, yeah, that's an interesting note for them to kind of like put space and mysticism kind of back in the same basket and just be like, nah, they're demons, fuck it.
So no, like I'm glad to be a part of it because I think that is also like one of the problems with like one of my personal problems with Super. Like while Super did like kind of go back to more in a Toriyama style of being a little bit more like with the humor and the jokes and stuff, it was still like the scale was way too fucking grand. Like we're in multiple universes now and alternate dimensions. I'm just like, too much, bro, too much.
Yeah, so Super has some pretty cool concepts. bringing back the Kaioken after like 20 years, rad. Vegito Blue. I mean, we get to more Vegito, that's cool. But like, Super has a lot of pacing problems.
Definitely.
And also, it has the same problem we just talked about that GT had originally, which is like, at the end, it just becomes a vehicle for, okay, well, what's Goku's cool new power-up he's gonna do? Because Goku has to do all the heavy lifting. Like, we do a decent amount, and I think the manga version of Super, like, does some completely different plot arcs, and, like, gives, like, Vegeta and other characters more stuff to do. But the anime was definitely like, okay, we're playing the greatest hits, it's Goku, Goku's got his Kaioken, Goku's blue now, Vegito is part Goku, there's an evil Goku. And, like, again, they have good concepts, but there's a pacing problem, and also just, like, I feel like we spend a little too much time focusing on whether it's the antagonists or the protagonists, the characters who are the least interesting. I only ever saw bits and pieces of, like, the final, like, multiverse survival arc, but, like, I still don't get what's supposed to be the appeal of Jiren. He's just a dude. Like, he's a big, muscly gray guy who's, like, really strong. Why is he really strong? I don't know, because he's just the strongest guy.
He's just strong.
He's strong guy. Guy strong.
He's strong gong. Yeah, Axe, by the way, we call that a flying brick.
Yeah,
flying bricks are not interesting.
Yeah. Like, Superman can be an interesting character, but, like, if we were trying to make some biting commentary about Superman, much like most of the DC movie universe recently, I feel like Jiren missed the point. But like I said, it's, you know, they had good characters. Hit was a really interesting guy. Time Stop Man. You know, like, they had some good points, but I feel like they leaned a little too hard on some characters for Super. But yeah, so, like, I'm actually pleasantly pleased to hear that Daima is doing new interesting things and is, like, keeping it fresh, because, like, I'm pretty sure when they first announced, hey, we're going back to, like, we're gonna magically de-age everybody down, like, and admittedly this was before Toriyama passed away, people were, like, worried. They were like, oh shit, are we gonna get GT2?
I mean, it is GT2, but not in a bad way.
Yeah. It's GT2 in the way that, well, I still haven't seen it, though, funnily enough, Lucky talking about it, I literally opened up Crunchyroll, make sure I'm logged in. I have another tab open on the start of Dragon Ball Superhero movie, because I never got around to watching that one either. But
I was actually watching it too. It's good. It's good so far.
No, and like I said, I've seen some stuff from it, and I'm like, I should actually sit down and watch this. So this just made me think about actually tabbing it open. But like,
I am slightly dying that Bulma basically uses the dragon every year just so she can get free beauty treatments. It kills me slightly.
Oh, they made that canon. That's so good.
No,
that was a joke forever.
No, like, in the beginning, they gather up the, because to keep people from using them, Bulma gathers up the Dragon Balls and just uses them. And she just uses them on, I'll spoil it, Piccolo uses a wish for something, I won't say what that is, but then Bulma uses the other two wishes to give herself a younger ass, and then to remove some of the wrinkles up around her eyes. And then Shinra's just like, done.
God, Shenron has to be so fucking tired of these people.
Oh no, I think Shinron's having a great time, because in Daima, when the Demon King uses it, he says, you get one wish. And, the Demon King says, wait, I thought you get 3. It's like, that's for returning customers.
That's right. I saw that screen cap. Yes, you're right. Shenron's based.
Shinron's pretty fucking based now, and I love it.
That's so funny. Yeah, no. But yeah, so, like, I was gonna say earlier, Daima is like GT2 in the way that, like, Dragon Ball Super Broly is Broly 2. Like, people thought Broly was cool, but the Broly movie is not actually that good.
No,
but Super Broly is pretty good.
People like Broly because he was so fucking strong. That's the thing. And I like that in the superhero movie they actually continue. It's not direct, but Broly is still hanging out with Goku and Vegeta.
Well, I think that's something that the Super movie series did a really good job of, was, like, when they decided they were doing Dragon Ball content again, right? Like, they did Battle of Gods, and that was just like, oh shit, we're getting new Dragon Ball stuff? And then they did Resurrection F, and unfortunately they readapted Resurrection F for the Super TV anime, but it was way worse. The budget was bad, but, like, you know, they busted out the greatest hits, but, like, they, unlike the original Z movies, kept the continuity, like you said. So, like,
yeah,
Battle of Gods is canonical, and then it flows into Resurrection F, into Super Broly, etc. So, like, they keep it all together, which is cool.
Yeah. Also, more beam Shinron being based. When Piccolo mixes with Shinron, just gives him a free mirror just so he can check himself out. It's like, no, Shinron, I love it when Dragon Ball has jokes in it. I really, really do. For some odd reason, I think that's one was kind of tiring me in Dragon Ball Z. Was just that I felt like I think it was just too serious all the fucking time. It was just like, I can't remember Dragon Ball Z jokes. I really can't. I don't know if they exist. They might. I don't remember them.
Oh, it has gags because, like, this is the thing people forget. Toriyama, gag author. Like, he wrote the playbook on, like, Action Shonen, but, like, I think a lot of that was his editors, like, pushing him to capitalize on that stuff. He always seemed like he was a gag and a joke guy. I think, like, literally he talked, like, in some of his, like, author notes, he's like, all right, my best day, feet up, cigarette in hand, dirty magazine in the other. You know, like, he's just like, nah, man, I'm just here to have fun, make some jokes. And so, like, and I think people are, like, realizing that, like, the gag stuff is not where Dragon Ball fumbles because, again, like you said, Super had some gags, but Super felt way more like a tonal continuation of Z, of just, like, more action, bigger stakes, more characters. Look how strong this guy is. We had to go to whole different universes to find more strong guys to fight Goku. Look, new Goku! Roll him now in Dokkan Battle! That's actually different. They made a whole separate promotional anime to sell you on the gacha game and the card game. But, like, it feels sometimes like they're trying to sell fucking action figures with all the new forms Goku gets. I think Dragon Ball FighterZ ended with, like, 6 Gokus. It's a lot of Gokus, you know? But, like, they had the gags, but they focused more on the action escalation, and I think that is just what fatigued everybody. Like, I remember when Super was first coming out, people thought it was very interesting. Then they did some retellings of the movie arcs, and it was kind of like, well, we're just retelling stuff we already saw. I think let's see, I think Universe 6 was, like, the first big, unique arc, and people were like, okay, this is good, we're doing stuff, we've got, you know, alternate timeline characters, you know, we come up with some interesting guys, Hit's pretty cool, and, like, the Goku Black arc, I think, is very iconic and does do some interesting things, but also gets a little lost in the weeds in the end. But some of the other stuff is definitely just kind of like, okay, so we're just scaling up, and like you get fatigued, you get arc fatigue because you know Goku's gonna beat that guy. So yeah, very cool to see Daima getting good. Like I said, I follow the Team 4-Star guys and some of the channels that have broken off from that over the years. So like I know that people are positive, but maybe I will crack it out. What's on Crunchyroll? I assume these days. Daima, I assume it's yeah. Actually, no. I opened a new tab and it's right there on the front page. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I would definitely say give Daima a watch. The opening and endings, they're bangers. The animation. I love seeing Dragon Ball in modern animation. It's so good. Like I grew up on the 4.3 240 animation. So seeing it all here, that reminds me, actually, I need to watch Kai at some point. I never have.
Yeah, I'd say give it a crack. It's that's how I like finally actually sat down and consumed DBZ. Like I'd seen bits and pieces when it was airing, but I was never super into it. Other than like I had a lot of friends who had the video game, so I've played a lot of hours of some Budokais in my time and stuff like that. But like when I finally sat down and watched it back after, I think, I've said before that DBZA did actually hook me in, and like I know a lot of people like give them shit about, ruining the fandom or whatever. Never mind that, like they say, people, the reason why they make Goku is a bad dad jokes is because people always have made Goku is a bad dad jokes. Also, I'm gonna be honest, Goku, little bit of a poor father. Like, he didn't have a dad, he had a grandpa, so it makes sense, but, like, he's not the greatest dad. He doesn't know what he's doing, okay? And that's fine.
There's a reason why Piccolo and Gohan are, like, attached to the hip.
Yeah. like I said, I don't, like, think it's a character slight against Goku that, like I said, he doesn't know what the fuck to do with what a father is. His as we found out from post-canon, his, dad was a perfectly normal Saiyan man who, punched things and killed people, killed aliens, possibly ate them. But like I said, but DBZA did not invent those jokes. They just made them like super turbo popular. But I think they made me see like that, like, oh no, there's like a real core to Dragon Ball as an anime. I actually have some old Shonen Jumps from when they re-syndicated the Dragon Ball manga here. I think I've actually got the one that is the final of the manga where it's the end of the Z arc in the manga originally, which is Gohan defeats Cell. But I knew there were some heavier hitters there, but like I said, I think that the TFS actually got me to go, oh, this is actually is good, even if there are some jokes about it. I should actually sit down and try Kai as the, I won't say abridged, abbreviated run through. And I did actually, like I said, sit down and watch all through, and I'm like, no, this flow's pretty good. I would say to give it a crack, especially because they do get to redo the dub and actually avoid some of the sillier pitfalls of the dub, I'll send you to the other world, or you're going to the home for infinite losers, which is funny, but also very obviously a dubism. But yeah, let me just add more shit for me to catch up on.
Yeah. Honestly, when I can't sleep at 3 a.m., I've been popping on animes. I've been watching quite a few.
I should try that, I guess. I watch a few different things, but I've tried watching TV before. There's always the risk that I'll get too sucked in, but that's how I right. I almost said speedrun. That's not the right word. That's how I binged JoJo when I decided to get into it. I was just Netflix at 2 a.m. It's hey, you want to check out JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, kid? And I was probably. And here we are. I keep meaning to like I said, check out. You brought up earlier, Dun Dun Dun. I'm yeah, I really do need to sit down and watch that. But it's been a busy couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious anime.
Delicious anime. Anime continues to be good. What else continues to be good? Gacha games. Nikkei just celebrated its 2nd anniversary. Me and the lads down the Nikkei channel are hyped because once again we are being hit with depression. Yay! As in with most anniversaries, we got an event story highlighting details of the past and how everything was fucked back then. It's great. We love it. Our wallets are dead. Not much to say on that. Like I said, it continues to be good. Nikkei's minigames are not really minigames, they're just more games in a miniature fashion. This anniversary, they actually made a full-on Metrovania that they put in their gacha game. It's a little nuts. It has, the design is not the most complex, it's very simple animations and enemies, but they have, upgrade paths, power-ups, a huge-ass map. It's crazy. I love it. A lot of grinding gold, as you do in the Metrovanias, especially when you have to purchase your upgrades. Let's see here. Bit of news here. Girls Frontline has announced their end of service. I think that was mentioned before, but that's not to really worry because they already got Girls Frontline 2 and Exilium coming out. Been announced for global. Probably going to be pretty good. Don't know if I'll get into it. I've been playing way too many gacha games. I've still been playing Outer Planes, and I like it a lot. And I'm I shouldn't be liking it a lot. This event that I've been working on is about to end in a few days. And I might want to keep playing, which sucks because I have been slacking off on my other ones. I have not been playing as much Azure Lane and Blue Archive, which sucks because they have events going on right now. I've been trying to work on Blue Archive while we been working here, but it's slow going. The only other real gacha game that I got really going on is Snowbreak, which actually has had something interesting happen to it. Because they basically use one global version, it has to constrain itself to a lot of, lack of a better word, censorship standards. And recently, they had to basically edit a bunch of some of their recent characters and come out with more censored versions of it. Most people are pointing at China for this, and I'm inclined to agree. But the interesting thing about Snowbreak, this thing specifically, is that it actually has a workaround. So you can get access to the uncensored version. Again, I won't necessarily go into the details of it. I don't know, who's listening. Look left, look right, look left. But it's really interesting because, this is one of those things that, reminds me about, how do I want to couch this? It's just one of those things that I always find interesting about how people get around things. Because, I call this, the Girls Frontline Gambit, because back when I was playing, yes, this is accurate. Back when I was playing Girls Frontline, they also had censored versions of things, but they had a workaround. I don't know who figured this out. I don't know if one of the devs leaked it somewhere and then it just spread on the internet. But in Girls Frontline, you can get access to the uncensored versions of skins and whatnot too. You would have to put in a very specific recipe code because in Girls Frontline, you got units by spending resources and time. you put in a specific recipe, you would get a patch. You would get a patch notification. You install that patch, you have the uncensored skins. For Snowbreak, it's something similar. And, I went and did it, turned it on, and boom, I was back to the uncensored skins. I'm just like, wow. Which I find interesting because when, developers do this, that really gives me that feeling like, no, they really did not want to actually, censor their stuff. This is someone leaning on them to do these things. Yeah. If someone wasn't leaning on them to, censor their art, they wouldn't have censored it in the first place, And
I think for the original Girls Frontline, I don't know what, the censorship is like for, Snowbreak, but, for Girls Frontline, the stuff they changed was, relatively tame. God knows these days it's especially tame compared to, the shit Azure Lane openly tries to pull off. But, it was just, I think they, made some skirts slightly longer. They would move around, strategic tears and stuff for battle damage so that they showed a little less and implied a little less. But, I don't think anything at the time, anyway, in Girls Frontline was, super explicit. But also it was kind of just annoying that it was censored, so that's why I think a lot of people tried out the patch. So, yeah. But yeah, no, it worked back in the day. I remember plugging it in when I was playing Girls Frontline.
Yeah, so the fight against censorship continues. I'm excited. Snowbreak, it's a game I like. It's this is one of the problems I have with gacha games. I like a lot of them. I like the story of them. I just do not have time. I do not. The thing I appreciate about Snowbreak is it's very easy to get through, the daily stuff. I can do it in literally, 5 minutes and go about my day. But there's, story and stuff I need to read. There's events I need to do. There's weekly objectives I need to accomplish. I'm just just screaming into the void. Not to mention, Warframe is, hovering around my periph as we got Warframe 1999, coming next month. I'm just like, oh, boy. But that's not even my most recent obsession. My most recent obsession is playing Sons of the Forest and building a fort on a fucking island with cannibals on it.
Delicious fort.
It is a delicious fort. It's a great fort. I'm super proud of it. I do a lot of building on it. I wish you would... No, I shouldn't say that. That sounds horribly wrong. I'm going to say it anyway because it's slightly funny. My immediate thought to say to Axe was, I hope you become the straight guy. Because... Wait, do we have a picture? Hang on. Let me see if I got it. Here it is. We do have it. Forward. Patreon chat. This is Axe's stone house in the at our fort, and I look at it every time. I'm just like, it's so crooked. It's so
a little
crooked.
skew-if.
It's a little skewed. I'm just like, every time I see it.
It's just slightly off the angle for the direction that the fort is.
Every time.
Non-Euclidean.
Sorry, Robin posted our gay panic emo, which is just Edelgard just going, what?
A evergreen Three Houses meme.
Listen, I stand Adeleth in this house. But yeah, I've been playing Sons of the Forest. We have a little multiplayer, and I keep opening up the multiplayer, which we're gonna eventually run into the Project Zomboid problem, where Lucky has played a week into the future, and everything has changed. The monsters are descending from fucking hell upon us, and everyone's like, "What is fucking happening?" I'm like, I want to play it. I need to play the multiplayer.
Demons.
Like I said, Aaron's been in there, Loft's been there, Axe has been in there. You said you would probably pick it up here fairly soon, so you might get in there.
Yeah, it's on sale until the 4th, so I'll get it this weekend. I was thinking about already going ahead and saying I could get it tonight, but yeah, I know when it ends. I double-checked today. But also, it's already midnight, and I do need to edit and post this episode, so probably not tonight, but over the weekend I can join you guys.
Yeah!
And that'll be fun. Because it will be interesting for me, because I've watched a decent amount of Forest and Sons of the Forest content. I haven't actually sat down and played the games myself yet.
Yeah.
But, so I'm, familiar with a lot of concepts, but I'm definitely going to be spending probably a couple of hours going, shit, what's the button to do thing I know I can do?
I know we got a great house, although you're probably going to have to move in with Axe, because the way we built our place is only enough room for me, Aaron, and Loth, and they have called dibs.
I'll figure out some stuff. Maybe we can go multi-level.
Yeah. Logs are easier, and logs are great. Guess what? They can't jump over, they can jump over logs, but the amount of effort you have to do stone?
Well, once Calvin spikeifies the walls, they're pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 or 4s of rocks, you are going to be spending a week just gathering rocks every day.
Need to get a stone sled. I mean, I would say
that sled.
Actually, I know that the games do have some differential, you need to support stuff, otherwise they can weaken and fall down. But I don't actually know if you need a stone floor, because I don't know if
you don't have
strike
to
the floor. Well, yeah, Axe is saying he'd like a stone floor, but I'm like, Actually, it may be better for you to do like stone walls and skeleton and but do like a log floor.
Well, he can do, like I said, he can do what he wants. Like we expanded the fort so he can have his own space to build stuff. Like that's what that hole over there is. Like the actual main part of the fort is actually across the river. And that's where we have a lot of our stuff. But like I said, we didn't have the space for Axe. We're like, no, we'll just make sure that Axe can make his own space, and we can probably put a mega over there too when he gets in. Like I said, the thing that's just bugging me is that his fucking stone floor is crooked. I'm just like, ah!
As I said, it's skew-if. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I don't know. If Axe says it's okay, I might redo it. Like, I redid his entire fucking fence on there because, like I said, this is the thing, this is one of the things I'm horrible about, especially in these kind of games. I like to joke, I have a bachelor's degree in video game house design.
I mean, to quote a Dragon Ball abridged meme, it doesn't bother me, it bothers me a lot, and that one's still green! Like, that's... Whenever I hear about you in a free build survival crafting game, I just think of that meme about Cell, because, like, that is you. You have that problem where you would build the Cell Games arena, and one tile will be out of place, and you're trying to be like, I got shit to do. Nope, I gotta fix it. Blow the whole thing up, start again.
No, Loth makes jokes about this. Yes, I have that wall, there was, like, because, in Sons of the Forest, it has like a snap system, like you can kind of free place things, but also it has like little guides so you can like make things straight. So if you kind of just like miss one slightly and then snapping, the whole thing will just curve slightly and it won't meet up perfectly at the end. So basically I get to the end and I'm just like, it doesn't match up. Why doesn't it match up? Where is it? Where's the fucking piece? Where is the mistake? And I go tearing off, ripping up logs.
Just following the line of the
just flying the line until I find the mistake, and then I put it all back down. And I'm like, yes, good. Like every once in a while, Loth will see me like ripping like the floor up and throwing it because for some odd reason I can't get something to work, so I have to tear something out to re-add it. This is when I hit like Axe or Loth with like 5 logs to the face.
You're very strong in these games. You can do some very funny things throwing logs.
Listen, I killed a bird by throwing a log at it once, alright?
I mean, Axe, I like that you do have to qualify that purposefully, because Axe is the kind of player, we've told our Project Zomboid stories before, like, Axe is the kind of guy to just not be thinking about that because he's thinking about something else and just accidentally, bumping into you with sprint or other shit. I mean, on the one hand, yes, there's no reason to throw a log at somebody, but also, like I said, I've watched a decent amount of content. I've seen Mark and his friends Bob and Wade, Markiplier, play the log thing. There are absolutely like episodes which are edited down, but they're like multiple episodes which are like 30 minutes long, where like it just becomes, hey, guess what today's gag of the episode is? Throw a log at you.
Axe, you want to know why you've been hit 18 times? Because you'll be standing there watching me tear down logs, turn to the side and throw them, and you will just stand there and get hit. You don't move. You just continue to stand there and get hit by logs as I am tearing down and trying to get them out of the way, so I am not walking through logs while I'm trying to tear down a wall. That's why you get hit.
Safe work site practices. It's a hard at area. Stay clear.
I was about to fucking say.
I mean, I think him just saying sad was very funny. Out of context. Yeah, no, he's just like, I mean, like, honestly, I probably wouldn't stand around when somebody else is working. I'd be like, okay, you're working over there, I'm gonna go somewhere else. Because like I said, I've seen some footage from this game. I know how it gets when you're building. You can throw logs, drop rocks, accidentally make a spike pit trap that you don't want to step in, shit like that. Like, I think you can still hit each other with the axes when you're swinging to like the emergency axe to chop down trees and shit. Like,
oh yeah, no, I've beaten Loth with an axe a few times.
The Forest series of games is like permanent friendly fire on. Okay, like just like real life, watch what you're doing around other people. Just video game problems. Oh no, just like real life, I have to watch my backswing of my hatchet because if somebody's there, they die. Like, there's a lot of slippy, silly stuff.
Yeah, but no, I'm excited to get you in the forest. Like.
Oh, no, yes, you can do that. I've seen people hit themselves with logs, yeah.
But, also, I think the funniest log thing is when Loth is speed the foresting the area. He likes to just throw logs over the fence and has no idea who's on the other side. So me and Aaron have been beamed like multiple times in the head just by over the wall logs.
Does he at least shout timber or look out below first, or is it just
No.
huck?
Huck,
Okay,
huck,
so
huck.
Loth is just a fucking menace.
Loth is a bit of a menace when it comes to logs. But no, like, it's like, I'm having a good time. Like I said, I'm like, honestly, when we get done here, I probably am going to open up the server and I am going to go straighten out Axe's stone thing and probably help him get it started.
Yeah, listen here, chat. We like survival games. We play a lot of hours. I feel like it is kind of the Zomboid or 7 Days problem where, like, Lucky usually is the one who has the impetus to start the server, so it's like that old XKCD comic, which is just like it's like a line bar graph, and it's like my health the moment I realized I can have bacon whenever I want. Like, that's you with game servers, because you can just open the server. It's just like, wait a minute, if I want to play Sons of the Forest, I can just play Sons of the Forest.
Gasp.
And usually that does mean eventually you, like, hit your game burnout before maybe the rest of us, but we have a lot of fun, to get in. And yes, I think Sons of the Forest is far enough along in its dev cycle that it actually has, like, concrete goals and end game.
Oh yeah, no, it's past its 1.0.
Okay, good. And I know for a fact that it still has many silly things in it, and hopefully we can find some of those silly things. But yeah, that's always been like an interesting couple of game series. I'm actually kind of surprised they decided to do a sequel, but I think it works out.
Yeah. So I think that's enough on that. Final thing is Rain. You've been working on that. We've been getting back to playing. It's been good, exciting. Things are happening. Progress is moving on. Plot is happening. I'm about to do plot. It's gonna be great. I totally think that we should totally get well, actually, I know I shouldn't say that. I should probably wait till we actually do the thing to see what comes of it. Could be a lot, could be nothing. But Lucky is planning on taking some plot by the horns. May see if I can wrestle it a bit. But I do think we're probably trying to slowly make our way back into a more macro scale kind of time sense with Rain. I do think we have probably been in micro time a little too long, and it's maybe starting to drag out a little bit. While you were working on Space Trucker, I was definitely feeling like, oh no, I'm losing my Rain vibes. I'm losing them, which is why I was a little insistent. I think it was like a couple weeks ago.
No, I think it was this. Was
it this week?
Yeah, it was this week.
Yeah, because Dallas was having computer troubles, saying he's gonna have computer troubles. I was like, no, I would like to try anyway, because if we don't do it, I'm gonna start losing juice.
Yeah, I know, and I think it was good because like I have like hardly written Space Truckers at all, because like when I do have free time, it's like, okay, nope, we're in a new Rain cycle. I need to get ahead of the work there.
Mm-hmm.
I need to keep writing more to set up for more. So yeah, and no, I agree. I've been trying to figure out the way to pick it up a little, but it definitely feels like just the way that the festival was, and like honestly, sorry, I grabbed my leg of my desk to steady myself, and the desk came towards me rather than the other way around.
Gasp.
It's okay, I've pushed it back in position, but that was a little spooky. But no, like when I concluded the festival the first time and started writing the next phase, like I didn't think there would be as much focus in the future, but during the time skip, a couple of characters, I want to say, mainly you as Enos and Aaron as Conrad, made a much bigger deal of like, oh yeah, and if I can, I'm going to keep going to the capital and hitting up the festival. So like, I think the festival ended up with a little more focus than we all intended.
Yeah.
And it is, like, as established in the prologue, is a fairly structured amount of time. There's a set number of events per day. And we got better as we went through with stuff, to be like, like just like, hey, do you guys want to show up to this? And then like half of you say, nah. And we're like, cool. If you do
Move
show
on.
up, blah, blah, blah. Like, just like not necessarily fighting about whether or not you go to events and stuff and like who's there and what, and speedballing it a little while still getting some of our background in.
Like, Axel was saying something about I stole the show, and I was like, did I steal the show? I don't think I did. I spent like most of this last session quiet. Like, I joked about it. Like, I read like an entire light novel during my quiet time.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. Axe may be thinking of steal the show because like obviously you were still present and there. And you were a little more focused and dramatic. Well, that you should talk to your brain about that, because as Lucky said, he didn't actually hardly do anything like after the first hour.
I made Enos be a kind of an emo bitch boy for a little bit, because he has thoughts and feelings. But other than that, like, no, I think I had like the one big scene, and then like it was the day of mourning, so Anos literally didn't talk. So it was like,
yeah, you played it cool, and like we said, you dodged a lot of it. I don't know, and I think it was, a lot of it was just like, Enos was just very sullen because he was in some bullshit, but like you said, I think everybody came back like at some point I think at one point you were literally talking about like, oh, and we should just, wait around for fairies to attack us again, and I think it was, I don't remember if it was one of the other PCs or me as an NPC was just kind of like, I mean, kind of, yeah, if they're gonna like jump us, what are we gonna do, sue the fairy queen? But we should, be on our toes, though.
But yeah, no, like, because this is one of those things that I talked about before, that we were trying to get along with everyone too much, and I was like, no.
I'm going to be sassy.
Yes.
No, and I think it works, and I feel like, not just through, like, Enos's kind of, like, not quite doomsaying, but a little bit like that, you were being a little bit of a negative Nancy for the dramatique.
Yes, but like I said, like, that was intentional.
Yeah, no, like intentional. You did it for the dramatique.
Yes.
So, like, I definitely think that did solidify, like, I don't think for sure the other players would have, like, just gotten over it, taken their lumps, but, I think it did kind of solidify it to the rest of the characters of, like, yeah, we probably need to, like, think about how we can, like, put ourselves in a better situation and put up these barriers. And actually, I think in character, I think that was actually a good statement, Axe, at one point where you brought up, like, okay, so I'm the head house Logi, I work with the Iron Demons, do I control what you guys do? And I think even Enos had to be like, no, but, like, you can still ask us to do stuff, like, it's a little bit of a back and forth, but we'll see. Like I said, out of character.
Honestly, it like I said, me as a player was very confused about that because I didn't actually understand what Axe was trying to get there.
Oh, well,
because I do think, because there's a point between, there's a big difference between the Fae who just do what they want, or broadly interpret what you say to suit their own things, and a group of people that are very cautious and secretive and, take things kind of slow, so I was very confused of, like, why we're comparing the two of these who have two completely different ways of doing things.
Well, the point Axe was getting at was, like, the relationship to humans of, like, even if Enos would be like, oh, well, we are the Iron Demons, we're, cool and calm and secret, but, it's, the point Axe was trying to make was Leslaga's, like, but even then, if something were to happen, it's not like I steer your ship, because there was a lot of, like, questioning about Lord Ferretti and stuff like that, and it's like, well, there feels like there's a limit to how much he controls the Fae. They are their own independent people, so, how much can he be said to be responsible for them because they're not under him? Which I think is something that, Enos would agree with about the Kindred, is that, like, it's not supposed to be a relationship where they are, like, lower ranked or subservient to the humans who happen to hang out with them. It's just, some groups are more chill than others. But yeah, it was just, like I said, I think we were in a lot of different conversations, and it was still good because, like I said, I think it kept everybody on their toes. And if the group as a whole decides they don't like Lord Ferretti, I think I've said this before in and out of game, that, like, I always thought it was very funny that you are literally introduced to this character off screen with your dad, who I will admit has so far been shown to be relatively noble, upstanding, just, and at the very least has no character flaws to explored at all, but it's okay because he's dead. But, like, when he was like, the Lord Chamberlain with the stick up his ass, causing us problems, and then everybody was just like, well, not everybody, but, like, I feel like most characters were just, like, neutral to, like, oh, this guy's not so bad, but, nobody seemed to interpret that as, like, we don't want to hang out with Lord Ferretti. It was more just like, oh, him. And, like, I think the incident at the Grand Melee pushed us over into the original intended character tropes, like I said, where we're back on, oh, I don't think I want to hang out with this guy. Which is a terrible shame, because he's a high council member, which means some of you will be legally forced to hang out with him as a coworker.
Like, don't worry. Like I said, it was like a month ago where I was like, no, we're gonna have beef. I declare there will be beef with Ferretti. And
well, actually, you are the head of household, so, like, I understand you wanting to not make more enemies, but, like, I feel like X, and this is why Lucky is out here causing trouble. Who do you not want to be on neutral or decent terms with? Just the people who killed your dad? Like, why?
What if one of the High Cancel members put out that hit? Who knows?
You know, like you got to be willing to scuff a few knuckles, break a few bones. You know,
this is how we get to the dramatic. Like, this is why, like I was saying, like, no, I'm reopening the beef with House Marm. We don't actually know why there was beef in the first place. We shouldn't bury no hatchet until we get that sorted out.
Well, and I do kind of feel like that's a situation that's kind of gotten an interesting, point where, like, after, like, Nicola kind of had the great comedy beat of announcing his intentions to the whole dinner table, like, I feel like he actually has done a good job of not going crazy over the top with, like, making his moves. He's just going crazy over the top in a different way that will definitely not come back to bite him, and I will definitely not have things. Anyway.
I will kill him.
Well, it's not going to be a clone army, because that would probably be way too resource intense. It's one of those things where, like, I don't want to encourage PvP. You're all supposed to be a crew. And I think, as the general high-scope writer, there are methods Nicola could do to work this that would probably not be too dangerous. I do think that out of character, Dallas's little, like, reliance on, like, oh, it's not illegal if I do it to myself is a little too, like, he's taking that too much as a given.
Yeah.
But I think that there is still an interesting discussion. If he, like, literally split his soul in half and put it some places, first of all, he probably wouldn't enjoy that, because that probably means he's got to have, like, less.
That means he only has half the, like, this is the thing that bugs me about, his, he thinks it's gonna be okay to run around with half a soul.
Oh, I mean, like I said, I'm just saying, if he does that literally as planned, there's no way that's gonna be as fun as he thinks it is, because that's, like, he's gotta, like, lose some stat points permanently or lose some wound boxes from that. That's just, like you're losing juice. You know, he, like probably penalties to command or something. Like, that's not gonna feel great. But, like, that's a thing where he has to actually get to, like, the actual, like, research and experimentation phase, which I don't think will happen until the, you know...
Yeah, but, like...
Also,
like,
no, they wouldn't notice easily. You'd have to, like, actually look.
But it's also one of those things of, like, I actually kind of like, wait, have you actually brought this up in character yet? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh, well, I can't say anything yet.
Yeah, no. He hasn't, like I said, even out of character, he has not discussed the mechanics. He just keeps talking about how, my new plan is to figure out how to make two of me. At first he was just going to build a homunculus clone, but I had to say in no uncertain terms that, like, no, that'll be a whole new guy. That's a new person if you make a new guy. Also, if you did make a homunculus of a sentient being at this stage of the campaign, you're going to need a new character sheet, but no, but that'll be everyone disliked that. But yeah, no, like I said, it's one of those things that I think he can work through, like, eventually, or character development can happen and he can just decide he doesn't need to do that, but let's not tell him that part. Let's make Dallas experience the character direction.
Well, I say this is why I'm saying I don't understand. He goes through this, I will have to kill him. But killing him is the final step. There's going to be a lot of talking and yelling and maybe even violence.
I mean, you know, maybe if he makes two Nicolas with one half soul each, you only have to kill one Nicola.
Yeah, I mean, like,
kill one of them and put the other goo back.
Listen, my people's all about that soul magic. You do not split souls. That's not how this works.
Yes, I don't think the soul is so resilient so that you could not hypothetically start dividing it up. Like, there are plenty of spells that, like, shave a little bit. But that definitely is, like, I mean, that was literally, I didn't move it around to something else because, like I said, it fits a tone of some stuff I'm doing in the background better. But
oh yeah, I saw you move it. I was like,
yeah, the spell description about like soul eating, I had to generally put a note of, like, yeah, theologically, people don't like to use this technique because we don't know what happens if you hypothetically consume an entire soul. That sounds bad. That sounds like a thing we should not be doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like I said, we're on the reign, we're doing the drama, and like I said, I feel like a lot of my longer term plot hooks continue to, like, coalesce, and, like, I will not confirm or deny any of the suspicions. Like, Axe out here, like, throwing, like, oh, here's what I'm expecting. I'm not one of those GMs who, like, or just scriptwriters in general, where, like, if the audience guesses the turn, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta change it. But my ideas are definitely, like, multifold and multi-level, so it's totally a thing where, like, I know. Feel free to be suspicious of whomever or whatever you like. I feel like there are some hooks that I have not been shy in. Like, all of you are calling the King's death flags, and I'm just like, no, you're right. The High King is too nice to stay a reasonable authority figure. He will probably have to go, because otherwise there's no chaos. There's no dramatique. He's, like, normal and notable.
Also makes me worry about the Crown Prince, because he's also pretty cool.
At least with the Crown Prince, I feel like they're, limited character flaws, but you've met him enough to know that he does have character, like, limitations, so like he's
not perfect, but he's alright.
Yeah, he's been positive towards you, but you also know that like at the very least we've described him as like a workaholic.
Yes.
Like, so it's one of those things of like, okay, so we know that this guy's not perfect and bulletproof, and there may be suitable drama for us to work towards there. The only drama that I think would occur with the High King as he is now is if you guys fucked up in some way, right? Like if you made a bad decision and had to like go to the principal's office, whereas we've already hit judgment with other characters, and like I said, there are some characters who I think are nice and positives. I don't. One thing that felt a little, Axe even said, if there's too much tragedy, stories fell apart. I also think that just like if stories get too many enemies, it's just like it gets exhausting. I want you guys to have allies and enemies. So, like, there are characters who are, like, more positive to you, like, just last session, the session that's going to get posted probably tomorrow or the next day or whatever, you had, a very, like, frank, upfront, response with Duchess Cheval, where she was, like, normal and respectful and helpful to you, because she doesn't get any benefit out of, being a snit to you.
Yeah. Been working on our friendship with Baron Oro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, drama with Baron Oro just comes from the fact of like, is there going to be a time where like not helping you will make him more money, or will his desire just to help people and make more money cause him to help people who didn't need to be helped? Like, he seems like the kind of guy who you could like accidentally convince into bankrolling something he shouldn't, and that's going to be like that could be the meeting later where you like open the books and you're like, Baron Oro, you paid for the orphan killing machine. And he's like, what? It was supposed to be a device to make, harvesting crops easier. Why did I build the orphan grinder 9000?
Angst.
I will say, that's going to be funny for UX with the Verity thing. I think the crew is more positively disposed to Kefis Verity, but like the rest of House Verity itself feels like a little standoffish. That said, you guys are very embroiled in their various banner houses.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're going to say something else, Lucky.
I was going to say something else. Yeah, but I am cooling off on Rhea Schools. I don't know why.
She's probably not in it enough. Also, in general, I wrote Reese to be like House Verity's version of Enos, at least Enos as of the prologue.
Mm-hmm.
And just like flashy, overdramatic, a little bit horny on main, and like she introduced you to cool people, you have a cool time. No, Reese hasn't shown up since because she can't participate in the melee. She's been in the stands.
Yeah. Clavel's been around. It's just one of those things of like, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Go.
Go. No, I can resume at any point.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those things of like, I don't know. It's like when trying to make plans around certain things, like Rhea Schools really doesn't come to mind. Like even though Lucy doesn't come up a lot, I still think about her a lot. It's just I don't have necessarily the proper opportunities with her because, she's a sea captain. A lot of her scenes are probably going to be at sea when she's doing a captain stuff and, things of that nature around the Sea Wolf and stuff. And I have been probably putting a little bit more emphasis on, Noctiluca and Estelle because guess what? We're here in the capital, and once we leave, I'm probably not going to be able to see them for a while.
Yeah.
So, but like, Rhea Schools, I'm just all like, I don't know exactly where I want to go with this. It's a little weird.
Well, and honestly, I think that's kind of what I was going to say is that's kind of the point. Like, Whirlwind latched onto her in the prologue, as with many characters I introduced, just to be like, hey, look at how this one.
Mm-hmm. But, a few years later, things have cooled, and, it might be time for us to go our separate ways. And, well, not necessarily separate way, but, just be more amenable.
I mean, on paper, you can say that you have the best chance of actually marrying, but personality-wise, that would be the worst match, as we've kind of discussed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we've made many jokes that, like, Reese isn't in Enos's harem, Enos is in Reese's harem, like,
Yes.
because we aren't, like, following her around with the, like, virtual camera, you guys don't really know, like, what kind of love affairs Reese Schools is getting up to, but, like, presumably she is, and, like,
Yes.
I'll be real, some of that is, your game master is not omnipotent, but admittedly, I think since you've been in the capital, Reese hasn't popped by too much, because she's focusing on, keeping her sister alive, whereas Kefis Verity keeps popping into the scene, even though he wasn't there that much when you guys were actually at Tron, because Kefis Verity is in that awkward position of, actually, I should probably have him try and hang out with Nicola more to, like, foilify him, because they are kind of, like, similar character archetypes, but, like, Kefis is, like, well-educated, well-bred, mild-mannered, does know how to take care of himself in a fight, in a pinch, but very likely he is going to be for, weird culture reasons, because of House Verity's, hat, as they say, to reference the TV tropes Planet of Hats. He's probably going to be asked to step down, and he knows this. Most other people know this, and simultaneously this makes him both powerless, but also bulletproof. It's kind of like how Ainara Espada's attitude is, where, like, she's not actually the heir to her house, so she gets away with a lot of shit, because she's not actually the one who has to build future relationships, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of tension between her and her brother and, like, different factions inside Espada, so also her own family can't give her shit because she has, like, popular support, so Ainara Espada basically gets to do whatever she wants, and mostly what she wants to do is fight.
Yeah, no, so, like, honestly, I don't necessarily want a antagonistic relation with House Verity, but I definitely want, keep my eye on them, especially with Dallas, for some odd reason, bringing me into a secret that now I can't not do stuff about. Unfortunately, I am a person who likes to do things with things.
I think that was the point. Like, Dallas did talk about it out of character where he's like, well, I shared it with Enos because, like, I don't know if I bring this to Leslock, it becomes the Marquis's problem, which is, like, I think he made it clear that that's, like, a level he doesn't want to take it to yet. And he didn't know if, like, what Logesh or Conrad would do with his info. Like, I think he wants, like, Enos to be involved and, like, offer guidance. And that's, like, the person he wanted to bring in, he wanted to, like, actually do stuff with the plot hook, because for him, it was mostly a thing he kind of, like, kept to the background and, like, quietly went back and forth with me in DMs on a couple of, like, openly stated character moments, which, like, in retrospect, people listening back can probably catch on, but like I said, I think he wanted to bring in characters because he, like I said, he wants that plot arc to be more deliberate, and I think he did pick you, Lucky, and Enos because he wants somebody to be active with it. But in character, I can totally understand of, like, Enos being like, well, great, now I have to deal with your shit. And I have to deal with your other shit that I don't know about yet, because you're weird. Conrad is simple. Conrad is like, you guys don't have to worry about Conrad being in his shit. He's just doing stuff.
Yeah. No, and, like, this is the kind of stuff, like, I do enjoy, and I am kind of glad, like, this is what I wanted out of the Rain game. I wanted us to have to deal with shit. Like, we're not just going from location to location, beating up things, trying to sell things, and then going to the next location. We have to deal with people, places, and things, and sometimes with each other. So, like, no, I'm very much for it. The only problem is, Dallas ain't gonna be able to control what I do about his problem, so he's just gonna have to fucking deal with that. So, ha 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 ha. I've been meaning to DM you about, like, hey, can I do some weird shit, maybe, just to throw some things off? But the reason why I got on this is just because, like, again, we, like, this secret might have to have some repercussions if it, coming against House Verity. So it's just like, I don't know how close I want them at this moment. Look forward to next session. I'm actually going to try and speak to both Aurelia and Alestra on things. I'm going to get some plot points going.
Yeah, I don't, like, there are some things that I'm sure you guys will do, but I don't know when. I'm reasonably certain that by hook or by crook, you guys are going to have to take a field trip to the Cauldron, and then it's going to be like, yeah, no, you might have to deal with stuff. Like I said, I think I talked about on paper when I was talking about sorting out, the two widows, like, inheritance and title that, like, Troy Corone made Leofric's marriage with Cressida square by, on paper, claiming she was, the daughter of a clan head. So, like, she's effectively, the equivalent of a gentry over there. But I did mention, I think explicitly, like, none of your characters have ever actually, like, straight up been deep enough in the cauldron to verify that. So, like, is it just a political thing, or is there going to be baggage back home? Like, does that mean that, you're going to, like, have relatives you can count on, or you'll have family enemies, or just the cauldron is weird?
I'm banking on that last one.
I mean, you say to what I recall. I don't know about that. You guys just haven't, Once again, I mentioned this off camera later, talking about stuff, but, like, I feel like everybody has talked to Moira in their day planner, and they just actually don't get to it. But, like, you have not necessarily asked anybody straight out, like, what people's backstory is like. I straight up said that, like, I don't think you guys have talked about like what the backstory was too much. You just know that she, like, journeyed outside of the cauldron and traveled with Leofric for a while, and you know that Leofric had adventures! ! Don't worry, you'll get back to the base. You can speak to Conti. Maybe you'll go back through Tron again, and you can speak to Conti's high school crush first too.
Well, that was my plan. I wanted to swing by Tron so we can go see one of Leofric's old companions, since she was there. But I also do want to get back, because I do want to go try and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it, but I want to go recruit that moderate nun.
Well, you'll get your letter back from the Silver Tower later, and see what your future plans have to be. You may have to crack.
Yes,
by anyway.
either I'm gonna crack that letter, and they're gonna be like, okay, cool, and then I'm gonna go teach Malaria stuff, or they're gonna be like, no, don't, and I'm gonna go okay and go teach Aurelia some stuff.
The classic stuff.
Yes, we did.
You passed your recommendation on to the Hierophant, yes, the Pontifex Draconis.
We'll see if he follows up with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like I said, I introduced this as a choice, and then I did straight up tell you, like, by the way, the Pontiff doesn't have to listen to you.
Yep.
But if you pick somebody else, you may have grounds for a complaint. That just means that you'll have to flag down your High King and be like, oh, High King, the Pontiff was mean to me? Yes, very serious. We'll get a little, most of it will be, like, background montage, but we will probably get into a little bit of that next session, because, like I said, the plan is to do letters back, full King's Council, like, actually, like, not a closed-door meeting, like, big Parliament Hall, hall room, King addresses a shitload of people kind of King's Council meeting. So we'll get some big business done. And then once we cycle through all that stuff, ideally have Ice Cream Social Garden Party, but like I said, that may just, we'll see.
We don't have to make that a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be a big scene, but I'm feeling like I have some vignettes. Like, I'm assuming that you're probably going to invite all of our Witch Girl squad, so, like,
oh, definitely,
they have not actually, I think, had a good, like, long on-screen all-together moment, so, like, I'm definitely like, yeah, we'll need to set up some, like, actual hangouts and stuff, and get some notes, and use it as a springboard for a couple of other scenes, introduce some plot hooks. You gotta finalize your music box.
Yep, I do believe my commissions will be done. They should be done this day, but I have to make a check to put it all together, and I actually don't know how much time that's going to take.
It'll probably take you a couple hours of work at least. Like, it's a music box, and we've done a decent amount of research on this, so, like, it's going to be sizable, and you are deliberately going for extremely elaborate and over the top for a music box.
Yes.
But design-wise, like, actually bringing together all the bits will not be, like, crazy.
Well, yeah, this is one of the reasons why I commissioned out a lot of the pieces from, like, the Carpenters Guild, the Clockwork Watchmakers?
Yeah,
Clockmaker? Yeah. Clockmakers Guild, yes.
Yes, I think it's Clockmakers. They make
This is why I think a lot of sessions I was just saying, what is Enos doing? Enos is out at the guilds talking shop, getting things done.
And, like, that's the kind of thing that we're getting better at and need to do more of just, like, you just say, oh, I'm out buying something, and I just look at my chart, and I'm like, what's your wealth level? Yeah, you're good, I don't care. I won't make you roll.
Yep.
Like, this, the thing where, like, a couple of times I think Conrad has gone shopping too, and I just look at my chart and just be like, oh yeah, no, what's your current wealth? You're good. I think, like, at one point, too, like, Loth asked, like, you know, oh, Logesh is going to go out and, like, make sure he's got his, like, shiny, fancy armor, and I'm just like, look at the cost for armor plate, and I'm just like, nah, you're solid. You guys have a lot of money. It's funny, because I think before you took your loan, you were, like, treasure 2, so you were, you know, extremely average monetarily as a house, but all of you have pretty good personal wealth levels, and don't go, like, ordering castles from the catalog or anything. I know.
I don't know. We might have to order a castle from.
Like getting a place in the capital, but you know, and eventually getting a manor house back in Tyne. But like, you know, your polls are mostly straightforward. And like I said, I've already talked about it, but I haven't written it out yet because I need to like do world building writing. But the itinerary for the Prince Touring Crown will probably be like, okay, this day you're going to travel to this place. Do you want to do anything on the road? Okay, cool. You're in this place. Do you want to do anything in this place? And then, like, I'll seed vignettes and important scenes for, like, character moments, plot hooks, story shit, in there, and then, like, give opportunities to show stuff, and then we'll just move along and see, you know, how long it takes to do the montage. And like I said, it'll be very interesting to set up, because I'm pretty sure, given how things have gone, we're going to start by you guys are going to go up the east side of the province, closer to Cheval lands, and then later get to the side that borders Ferretti lands, and maybe try and speed through that border area, just because you guys are kind of like fussy right now. But yeah, rain's going. Look forward to an episode. We're having a lot of fun. It was good after we had a couple of like oddball episodes where we like skipped some weeks and had to stop in the middle of some stuff to like actually refocus down. I think everybody was like having a good time. Having a good time. Yeah, we're almost at 4 hours now, so we can probably wrap this up. This means I am definitely not going to join for the forest tonight, because like I said, I got to edit this bitch together and upload it. Maybe I'll hang out and do some Monster Hunter solo again, like I said, try out some more weapons. Mm-hmm. But we can probably wrap this up. Anything else you wanted to bring up, Lucky?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I will scratch my nose. Well, let's do my outro stuff, then. And get on out of here and go about your day. We'll see you later, people at home. Like this video on YouTube. Leave a comment. Join our Discord. Subscribe. Ring the bell. All that other fun stuff. Consider joining channel memberships. Membership badges and emotes. And consider supporting us on Patreon, like these fine patrons, like Adam DeHarp, Blackester G, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, JDV9000, Jessica Faye, Kaiser, Crystarlight, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Revan Charvor, Some Guy Named Bob, and Baron the Crow. Thank you very much for your support, everybody. You can get episodes early on Patreon and other stuff, and it really helps us out. And we will continue to bring you the content as much as we can. All right, cool beans, everybody.
Cool beans. See you next time.